to the god-awful news. I am Craig Hamilton Bradley. Sorry the news is so bad. It's a beautiful day, and the news is terrible. And and study. If you haven't heard, there's a new study. Studies have recently shown that 99.25% of all Republicans are assholes. And subsequently, that's the exact same number of immigrants who never commit any crime. 99.25% of immigrants are not criminals, don't commit any crime. They're guilty of being really good neighbors, people who are great employees and business owners, people who work incredibly hard in pursuit of a better life. And in doing so, they make our country stronger, right? But evil sociopaths, evil bigots, racists, insurrectionists, violent traitors, violent insurrectionist traitors. Anyway, there's a lot of news. It's been 10 days since the last time I told the news. It's all so traumatizing. So, but you're all watching us. We went to war with Iran. We're just doing irreparable harm to thousands, millions of people. What's up, John? Love you, bro. Oh, God, I know democracy's just... Oh, these American citizens getting scooped up, which is just as offensive as all the other people. I mean, it's just so heartbreaking. And if you're a sociopathic narcissist who thinks it's okay for that to happen to someone else, you're too stupid to realize that you're saying it's okay to happen to you, right? If we want to make the gay people the other, next it's going to be me. It already is, right? The Veterans Association, if you haven't heard, the VA wants to not provide services to Democrats, right? So what if you served your country, lost a limb in a war, fighting to protect our democracy? And so what about that? If you're a Democrat, you lose. Anyway, let's just get down to the news. Let's start working through it. Every day for the last 10 days that I haven't done the news, innocent human beings in Gaza who've been just guilty of going for food for their starving children. 17,000 babies are on the verge of death from starvation. Many are dying right now every day. It's so inhumane. I didn't know this, but what happens in the final stages is your blood turns to acid and burns your internal organs out. And that's what Israel's doing to these children. And their fathers are trying to get food for them, and they're getting shot at with tanks or missiles or drones, and they're bombing every building left. It would have normally been just egregious, if you'd seen, oh my God, Iran bombed a hospital. Now they claim to have done it accidentally, that there's a building nearby that is an intelligence building, and they weren't actually trying to do that, they say, which is nice of them. Meanwhile, in Gaza, Israel has bombed every single 38 hospitals, all of them, right? There are 81 health clinics that are not bigger than a clinic, but smaller than a hospital. Bombed every single one of those 81 places people were getting aid. And the 164 health clinics in Gaza have all been bombed by Israel. So when you see a bomb hit one of their hospitals once, and then the Western media talk about it like, oh my goodness, it falls on, less sensitive ears. And it's all a tragedy, and it's all stupid. Anyway, and then, Israel and stupid Trump is now at war and lying about everything all the time, of course, about his effectiveness of his bombing campaign. And meanwhile, he's just put a big target on all of our backs, right? Our National Security Agency, the FBI, Attorney General, everybody is now not doing their jobs protecting us. They hired, of course, you might have seen the story about the 22-year-old little weirdo that they hired to protect us all at national, I don't even know which agency. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. And so, yes, I mean, we can assume that whatever, anger and frustration that might come in the way of terrorism from foreign countries, we're giving reason to like 100 countries to want to do terrorism against us. And we have the majority of our terrorism, nearly 80% of it is all right-wing fascist pigs in our country, right? Republican, domestic terror is, right? Proud Boys, all the anti-Semites. It's amazing when Republicans try to point the finger at anyone else being anti-Semitic. And it's not anti-Semitic to be against genocide, to be against murder. And these people claim to be religious. The freaking Christians who are just all forward on murder. This whole administration claim to be religious people who are just murdering people everywhere, including in our ICE detention facilities. A Canadian, locked up, murdered by detention. A woman lost her child. And then I forget if she died too, but yeah, it wouldn't give a pregnant woman services. So her baby died inside of her. I mean, in detention. It's just, these people claim to be pro-life. That's the biggest joke ever. They're the most pro-death people on 100 different levels. How about that woman? What's her name? Kamek or something? This disgusting Republican woman. An elected official gets pregnant, nearly dies from her pregnancy in Florida. Yeah, no duh. And then what does she do? She blames it on blames it on Democrats for her dying because the doctor didn't want to give her reproductive health services, because there are laws that prosecute doctors for helping women in Florida past 6 weeks. Oh my God. I don't even know. Kilmar ordered to be released. That's sort of good, but they're going to still just come after him. It's so gross how they just like rabid dogs. They just keep, they'll fight in every illegal way to do every illegal thing. And if they can't get what they want, they just fight harder to do it. It is just mind-boggling. Texas signed a law saying you got to put the 10 Commandments up in the classrooms. And it's just amazing. At the same time as all these supposedly Christian, psychotic, right-wing pro-death people are just murdering people. They've murdered 500,000 people through starvation in places where people were suffering by not giving them USAID, right? Overnight. And that's going to be 1.2 million at the end of the year, right? Exactly as was predicted. Spreading disease, inviting terrorism, killing people with bombs. They're cutting people's food supply in our country, starving people in our country. I just saw a report of someone's food assistance being reduced from $400 a month to $54 a month. Here's one good thing. There's one great thing out there. There's this lady running for Congress in Illinois. Kat she's got a fun name. It's here somewhere. She's the funniest lady ever. She does these comedy routines. She did this whole thing, and it's true. She didn't even have to make shit up. She did this thing about Michael Flynn, the psychotic weirdo who has a website where you can get, vaccine-free blood and just weird-ass shit. Kat Azu, God darn it. Where's her name? I think I got her name somewhere here. She's freaking awesome, and she's adorable, and she happens to be Palestinian. Talk about a combination of fucking beautiful things, but she's also funny as shit, and she's like 33 years old and adorable, and not taking any shit. Oh, I gotta find her name. Anyway, I thought I might have it here. Anyway, Jack Black. Grab the camera for Lamar Jackson. There you go. I don't know what a Lamar Jackson edit is. Could you please explain what a Lamar Jackson edit is? Jennifer Hensley, thank you for calling Trump out. I'm sick of being told my own eyes are lying to me. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's disgusting. Our country is in peril. It's totally, and he keeps saying, oh, Joe Biden is destroying America, right? Everything that he says is what he's doing, and he still he blaming Joe Biden for what? Had 16 million. Oh, and all the economic data is coming out. It's being revised, and it's just everything's getting worse, right? Our GDP, our gross national product, or gross domestic product, the numbers are being cut nearly in half. Well, in half, yeah, from 2.8 to 1.4% growth, and unemployment is higher than they said it was, and inflation's going up. Trump is destroying our economy. And I mean, think about it. Oh, how about this guy from, was it Finland or Norway? A vacationer wanting to come to the United States to spend money, which nobody wants to do anymore because it's not safe. Because Trump's Nazis will stop you at the airport and ask you, let us see your phone, which is just so gross and invasive and doesn't seem right, right and wrong being what it is. Doesn't seem right to do that. I wouldn't want to go to a country that would do that to me. And they find this meme. Oh my God, J.D. Vance is such a pussy. All Republicans are such snowflake pussies. They wouldn't let him come here on vacation because he had a meme, a picture of J.D. Vance bald with his fat face. Oh my God. Can you imagine being such a meek weakling? A Republican who can't take a joke. Republicans aren't funny. There is no such thing as a funny Republican. There was one. I think Norm Macdonald was Republican, but he never really talked about it. Occasionally he said something racist, but that was the only way you could tell he might be a Republican. Trump says it's not politically correct to call regime change. So he wants to overthrow the government of Iran now. He went from being I'm the no war president. Everything's a lie, right? He never was the no war president. There was everything's a lie. Of course, there was no way he was going to stop the Ukraine war on day one. Can't believe there were dumb enough people to. Thank God. Listen, if you used to be stupid and now your IQ is above Republican, God bless you. If your IQ is still at Republican or below, I just feel sorry for you. How do you remember to do anything? Oh God, how about that poor guy? That poor kid that was just speaking up for the nice, hard-working janitor, right? Not a criminal, a hard-working janitor, someone taking out your trash at Walmart, was being detained by ICE agents. American citizen says, hey, don't do that. That's not cool. Why are you doing that to him? They detain him. Beat the shit out of him. And then disgusting fucking Walmart fires him. Was that Anthony? No, that's not Anthony Orndorff. That's another guy that was detained. It is brutal. It's all bad news. It's all Kat Abu Ghazaleh. Kat Abu Ghazaleh. I think that's her name. Running for Congress in Illinois. She is awesome. You got to find that. And I found this Coplitz lady is very funny. I don't find funny comedians very often when I'm looking at them. But that lady, I'd like to find her recently. She is somebody Coplitz. This lady, she's like a little older than me. She started doing all this menopause humor. That's pretty good. But the humor before that was pretty good too. I saw her 15 years ago. One of her lines is, I'm what they call in Texas a handful. Anyway, that's that Coplitz lady. So at some NAACP event, which the president has always been invited to, they did not invite him because he's on a mission to eliminate civil rights. Oh, it was some civil rights convention, right? Republicans are on a mission to eliminate your civil rights, my civil rights, our constitutional rights, our voting rights, our freedoms. It's insane when a Republican talks about wanting freedom when they ain't smart enough to vote for it. And now we got, there's storms. If you don't know, there's storms just killing people, murdering people. Republicans voted for this weather that murders them. And then they voted for a guy that will definitely not help them. Dismantling FEMA at the same time as we're going to have one wallop of a hurricane season. We've got a tornado season just ripping people to shreds. And it's very sad to know, but in many cases, in the states, not all of them, some of the blue states are suffering too from the horrible, disasters from the weather, but more in part the people who voted for the shitty weather. They voted for the people who said there's no such thing as climate change. Oh, it's always been hot. Meanwhile, yeah, all the beaches are gone. Have you looked at pictures of Waikiki? There's almost no beach left there because the ocean's rising and it's taking beaches back. In front of this place, if you look at the live view, there used to be a beach that went out 20, 30 feet. Now there's no beach and it's a foot underwater. Yeah, ocean's rising way faster than anyone is talking about or willing to acknowledge. And it's speeding up and it's getting worse. And meanwhile, we have a bunch of they're devil worshippers, right? Trump and his people are the devil and his friends. And they call themselves Christians while they worship the devil and they bring hell on earth. Because you got to bring hell on earth so that Jesus can come back to save us all. That's a psychotic fucking story. A psychotic story. Oh my God, and it's so sad because we now have people who can destroy the planet. And in their minds, so that they can inherit the earth, which is sick and twisted. It's bullshit, crazy talk. Talk about an insane asylum. That's the goddamn White House and the whole executive branch. Anyway, let's go on. U.S. immigrant will... Oh, yeah. The Supreme Leader of Iran said the U.S. involvement in this war will lead to irreparable harm. Right? And Trump threatens him. We know where he is and we can take him out and all that stuff. And this is just about the dumbest shit you could ever do. So now we just have this huge target on our back, right? And if there are, we know we have all kinds of, you know that story. What do you call 3 Republicans in one place at one time? A terrorist cell? Yeah, we got those all over our country. But if there are some Iranian-supported, well, guaranteed they're supporting all the white supremacist terror cells. But, right, like they don't even need someone from the Middle East to do it for them anymore. But if there are people who have been just waiting to do a terror at the beck and call following some war, well, now they've been activated. So, not to mention, my God, just wait till we provoke China to put 1 billion drones in the air. Like murderous drones looking for people, right? 3 drones for every human in America out on murder missions, right? That's this crazy. We need to be making peace with everybody because we now have psycho weapons. In addition to nuclear bombs, we have evil, robots that can just go kill people. And we're motivating people to develop more and more and more of that. And everyone's devoting more and more and more money to weapons, which isn't smart. That's not food. That's not shelter. That's not art, music, sports, all the beautiful shit in the world. Anyway, what if we were smart enough to just celebrate humanity and focus on art and athletics? Let's fight against all the other countries on a playing field at the Olympics, That should be how we, fight. Anyway, it's just sick and twisted. And it behooves me that the worst people, in some cases, not all, there are some world leaders that aren't god-awful, disgusting, terrible people, But in our country, they are. Every single Republican is just unexplainably awful. What we got here? All right. Let's see. So Gabbard, Tulsi Gabbard, you see the video? If you haven't, she does this weird video talking about how all the rich people, they don't care. They don't care if we destroy the earth because they all have these really lavish underground bunkers. Really, I can't imagine being such an ignorant billionaire that you would think, well, and you know, in their evil minds, maybe, oh, we'll just wipe everybody out and then we'll inherit the earth. You really want a toxic, radioactive earth? Where, oh, anyway. So that's what these crazy ass, this marriage between psychotic Zionists that want to bring the second coming of Christ, the murder Christians, the murder Jews. Oh, how about Ben Mycelis? I love it because he's using the right language, right? Midas touch. He called this big, deadly, disgusting bill that's going to destroy America even worse than it already has been destroyed in the last 6 months. He called it the big murder bill because it's going to murder people, right, by taking away their health care. For every million people, and it's either 10 or 15 or 20 million people are going to lose their health care. For every million, 2,500 people are murdered instantly. So that's murdering 40,000 people, Americans. We're just going to murder them because, you know, they're the weak. And these people are eugenicists. They want to kill anyone that's disabled, anyone that's inferior, which to them is someone that ain't white, which is just absurd because they are the most inferiors. They're the most inferior people on earth. These white inferiorists do nothing to make their case that they're somehow better than anybody else. And it's so sad because they make all the majority good white people out there look bad, you know? Anyway, so yeah, it goes on and on. All right, so she tells the truth and says, yeah, we know they're not close to having a nuclear bomb. And Trump says, I don't believe it. I don't want to know that, right? He just refutes it. And so now they're not inviting Tulsi Gabbard to any of their, you know, meetings, their top security defense meetings. It's all so weird. But she put out this video about how the end of the world's going to come and tech billionaires and Trump, which is true now, right? Which is the one frustrating thing. If he decides to destroy the world, he's got one of the best bunkers of anybody, right? And a whole staff of people around him catering to his needs. Oh. Anyway, and of course, J.D. Vance is just as dangerous or worse, and he is in the back pocket of the evil Palantir tech evil. And everyone's finally noticing the evil that Palantir is. And is it too late? Like, if we got a president in there that recognized the danger of Palantir, could you even extract it out of our system, even if you wanted to? At this point, is it already just a herpes virus on the nation that will never get off our spine? You know, I mean, I worry about that. And, oh, here's an idea. What if politicians in this next election cycle, should we be allowed to vote if these racist, bigoted traitors, these Republican traitors, take away our right to vote? They're trying to do that in every way. But if there is, what if people were running on fighting against AI, fighting against mass surveillance, getting it out of their town, getting flock surveillance out of their town? Hey, Michelle, aloha, right? You know, I could see, I imagine, I dream of running for, it would be a good reason. There's several good reasons to want to run for, say, mayor, right, of Maui and have as much control as I can of Maui. And one of them would be to just try to keep AI out of this beautiful place and surveillance eliminated as much as possible. We don't need it. It doesn't make the world safer or better. It's just disgusting. And since we know all of it is and will be used by the wrong people with criminal intent, criminal actions like we're seeing, the current regime is committing crimes every day against the Constitution, against basic laws of humanity, decency, the American way, being just committing crimes against freedom, which just hurts so bad. Our country is founded on freedom fighters, freedom seekers, people like me who have enjoyed freedom. Riding a bicycle across the United States 3 times was freedom at its best. Anyway, they just tackled a girl going to work, an American citizen, just racially profiled. She looks Mexican. She looks like she's not from here, like she's not American. That's 70% of California, right? 70% of California ain't white. So they're going to racially profile 70% of the population and beat them up and lock them up and go, oh, you're really an American citizen? Sorry. Ugh. And then in Oceanside, this lady just captured these evil criminals. And these guys are kidnappers. This is human trafficking. Pam Bondi claims to be against human trafficking. Oh, I was taking money from the people in Qatar, foreign influence. I was working for the Qataris, but I was fighting human trafficking. Well, now you're doing it. This is just the worst. And now the Supreme Court, if you haven't heard, just passed 6-3, making it okay for us on a mass level. It used to be like one person they could make a case for and sometimes deport one person to a third country, right? But now Trump has just been allowed to deport mass numbers of people, not just to third countries, but to third countries that are in civil war, going through hell, that will be given no status. Like previously, they would have been given some status, and they're going to be turned into slaves, thrown in prisons, treated like dirt, abused, killed maybe, who knows? It is so inhumane. And they want to do that to people, but one of their motives is to put them somewhere where they could just never make it back to America, because, it's so great being somewhere where we have a Nazi death squad going around, rounding people up and sending them off to their fucking death, right? That death camp in El Salvador is a death camp. I've already mentioned this, but if you zoom in on Google Earth View, you can see the pile of dead bodies and the huge blood stains on the ground. In the shed between the 2 rows of warehouses where they have 40,000 people being kept, starved, lights on all the time, no pillows, no sheets, crammed in, like it's their concentration camps. No medical care. Yeah, and we're doing that to our people here, and we're sending them now to what? We're going to send them to Rwanda and Sudan and Libya, and Panama appeased us. Panama's going to take people, and Mexico, we've already been doing that to Mexico. Anyway, it is heartbreaking. These are people guilty of working, again, 60-hour work weeks, paying the taxes that support my Social Security, even though they don't get any of it. And what's great is how these ignorant Republicans try to frame it like, oh, they're just sucking off my tit. They're a big burden to me and my tax dollars. No, they're not. The reason your strawberries are so cheap is because they're underpaid and not given health care by their employer, right? And so by you saving money on you, yeah, they need health care still, right? If they'd had a decent employer, they'd be given health care by their employer. That's how it works in our country. Anyway, it is just awful. And Stephen Miller is just... he is just as much of a sick nut. It's so weird when Jews become Nazis. They're committing this is the second Holocaust, right? This is a whole nother Holocaust. But it's everywhere, right? They're killing people here, there, everywhere. In detention here. They're dying. They're dying in prison camps. Why a prison camp? Why not just set them free in some country, since they're not criminals? None of these people are criminals. 99.25% of immigrants aren't criminals, don't commit crimes. So they just have to go scoop up people, because there are no criminals to scoop up. And if there were criminals, they are in jail. And why not? Why haven't we heard them deporting people from jail? I don't get that. That's the only thing that would make sense to me. If you want to treat someone cruelly, it would be easier to deal with if they were murderers who'd been locked up for murder, or rapists. I mean, that's, anyway. All right, so Ted Cruz knows nothing. There was an interview. He was asked about, because he has opinions about how we should bomb Iraq. And Tucker Carlson, of all people, said, do you know how many people, 92 million is the answer. How many people live in Iran? And he didn't even know. He wants a regime change in a country he knows nothing about, right? And that's disgusting blowfish. God, just the grossest. I don't know who's the grosser man or woman, but there's a long list in the Republican Party. There's Tom Homan. He's disgusting. Ted Cruz, Stephen Miller. Oh, so disgusting, so gross. Oh, because of who they are inside. And they are gross on the outside, but it's who they are inside. The racism, the bigotry, the hate, the cruelty, the death cult that is the Republican Party. Just war crimes, right? So they got these ex-CIA officers and private security people, mercenaries, and these are the people running the quote-unquote, they're the death squad, but they call themselves humanitarian aid, and they're the only ones Israel will allow to distribute aid, and they're just welcoming people in and then shooting them in the head or shooting them in the feet or hitting them with some tank shells. 50 to 100 people every day murdered in Gaza, just brutally murdered. And that is the Republican way. That's what they love to do. They're just killing. And yeah, meanwhile, they're putting the 10 Commandments up. It says, thou shalt not kill, but these are the thou shalt kill Christians. If you don't have it right in your head. These are the Christians who are really the thou shalt kill, the thou shalt rape, the thou shalt kidnap, disappear, lie, be a hypocrite. Yes, I think they're more like devil worshipers. I mean, I don't know how it all is defined, but it would seem more likely. So Brad Lander, which we'll get to, Brad Lander was a mayoral candidate, the comptroller of New York, brutally arrested for trying to help an innocent person go through his immigration proceedings. And how long is it before these people literally just take to the hills and start hiding? Or I was thinking people might swap apartments with their neighbors, right? If you love the family next to you and you don't want to see them wrongfully detained, you just quietly swap apartments with them for however long it takes to keep everyone safe. And then when ICE comes to their door and you're at their house, you're an American citizen, and fuck you guys. Meanwhile, they're in your apartment, safe and sound, filming the whole thing. Anyway, I could see that happening. That would be a good way to protect the lives of hardworking, beautiful people who are devoted family members, devoted to their job, their church, their community, and we're treating them like they're criminals, and they aren't. All right. And the entitlement, that's the grossest thing about it, right? This entitlement. I'm a 12th generation American. If anyone should be acting like, I'm better than everybody because I got more stake in this country. I mean, my family people were dying in conflicts establishing this country in the 1620s and 30s and 40s in my family. And it's on record. But yeah, we got these racist bigots who move here and a generation or two later vote to kill their own kind. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I can't imagine being anything. I mean, and if you're a white guy, it's a disgrace to you. But I mean, if you're a brown-skinned person that's voting to have brown-skinned people harmed, or black, I mean, they're attacking black people and their voting rights. That the Civil Rights Act of 1965 has been almost decimated by various court rulings. Anyway, so Mamdani Zoran. He's like Zohan. No, anyway, fucking cool guy. Awesome. I mean, he's a Muslim. He is a socialist, not afraid to admit it. He wants free buses. And that makes sense, right? In a world where the rich want to just step on the poor and push them down as far as they can, we should have as many things to help the poor as we possibly can, like free buses, free lunches in school, free food for those who can't afford it, help with their rent. Everything we can do to help the working poor or the disabled poor would make sense, since there's so much money at the top, right? Anyway, and it's just amazing to me that we can't just do the one simple thing with Social Security that would save Social Security, fund it completely. By the way, we're $100 billion a year is contributed by undocumented workers, and they don't get any of that money. That money goes to me someday, if it's there. Anyway, all right. How about the 3 Marine Corps gentlemen? 3 brothers devoted to the United States of America, American citizens, ex-Marine Corps. Their father brutally detained, locked up, treated like shit, head beat into the ground for no reason. They didn't need to do any of that, right? And it's just crime being committed by this criminal regime. And it is heartbreaking to see this repeatedly over and over. And where did they get these god-awful people? Did they hire these people from Russia? Or Northern Idaho from some white supremacist, or the Proud Boys? Are they all oath breakers? Or ashamed girls? Not Proud Boys, they're ashamed girls with their masks up because they're ashamed of who they are. And they know that, but they're being threatened. They're being threatened. The people who are kidnapping and disappearing, murdering people, those are the ones that you think we should be worried about? I mean, it's just God freaking awful. And, everyone's doing everything they can to fight back, but meanwhile, they're still just doing it. They don't care. They're shipping people off here and there. I wouldn't be surprised to find out they're doing what Argentina did and just push people, or was it Chile? Just push people out of an airplane, right? At 10,000 feet, locked up naked, right? Just disappear them into the ocean. Anyway, it wasn't for some bodies washing ashore on an island, we wouldn't have even known about that. And that's just one country that went fucking cuckoo, just like ours is. Pam Bondi, what a moron. And just an outright disgusting liar and an idiot, an unintelligent idiot. She had to lie. I didn't know. I have no idea. I haven't heard of any of these agents with masks on. I am not aware of that. It's just so gross. It just breaks your heart to see that's our country right now, led by horrible people like that. Okay, then there's the Marine Corps guys. How many people will have to get murdered or harmed or disappeared or kidnapped, locked up, beat up, neglected, taken away from their family before people start snapping and doing some crazy ass shit? I mean, there's 3 Marine Corps boys, right? Like, what if one of them had a break mentally, induced by his father being kidnapped, and his father was kidnapped while he was doing what? He was at work, of course, because that's what these people are guilty of, working hard for our country. He was doing the landscaping at an IHOP. Is there a long line of people just dying for that job? Bunch of white guys. Oh, that guy took my job. So many awful things. It's just so many awful things. How about the Marine Corps boys, or the National Guard boys that escorted their mom to court and escorted her away because they were not going to have any federal agents taking their mom, and they were in uniform? That was a pretty sweet statement. Oh man, wouldn't it be great if that's what our National Guard was doing? Just escorting immigrants safely in and out of their court proceedings. They're trying to do the right thing, and then of course the evil regime is charging them $1,000 a day for being in our country illegally from this point forward. So, which will then make them debt slaves, right? And that's what these people want. They want to bring back slavery. Sick, bigoted, racist traitors. We call Republicans. Oh, Catholic priests are doing the same thing. They're escorting people in and out of court proceedings, and that they have yet to assault a Catholic priest. So, but wait for it, they will soon enough. They have no morals, no ethics. They lie, they steal, they kidnap. They're hypocrites. They're rapists. Oh, speaking of that, what happened? Oh man, this is just the most wonderful, awful. It's a terrible story about disgusting shit that Republicans love to do, right? So many times, so often, and there's so many cases of it. There was a Trump's spiritual leader brought up on raping children. Yeah, okay, good job, Trump's spiritual leader, leader of a mega church. Yeah. So recently, what was it, the Moms for Liberty, which are really just the Russian propaganda crazy ladies for taking your freedom away. Their number one guy, their legislator of the year, was a gentleman by the name of R.J. May, who's recently been brought up on some sick shit. Children being raped by their fathers. That was his porn of choice. He has children that age. Has he ever participated in that shit? Disgusting fucking Republican. He had 200 plus, like 250 videos and images. Videos of children being raped. Small children being raped. In many cases by their fathers. And you wonder why it took me 10 days to tell the news. It's been so awful. This is like vomit coming out of my mouth. Talking about Republicans is like talking about vomit. Humans that are just human vomit. R.J. May, yeah, a bastion of morality. Disgusting. Disgusting. I can't even, it's just impossible to imagine. And by the way, if you're one of those sick bastards that has some sick thoughts, here's what you do with them. You leave them there. My God. Oh, God. Right? That is often and sometimes the difference between a civilized person and an uncivilized person. You might have crazy thoughts. They could be homicidal, suicidal, horrible fantasies where harm is done to other people. You could have those thoughts, you know? You're free to have thoughts. But when you bring those sick thoughts into the world and you act on them, you cross a line you should know better not to cross. In addition to the fact that you're just fucking stupid, right? All these assholes who do this shit are often rich. They got a nice TV, couch, bed, kitchen, toilet, shower, bathroom, 60-inch screen TV, and that they're gonna go do the shit that's gonna put them in a cell with other child rapists. Oh, and how's that guy gonna do in prison when that's his crime? Anyway. Coward, another Republican coward, Mike Lee, right after the murders, again, committed by right-wing terrorists, murdering people for their politicians, for Donald Trump, right? The murderers sent one of their own out there in Minnesota. Murdered, what, two people? Yeah, a woman and her husband, the leader of the state, one of the state congressional houses, either the Senate or the House, and put 9 bullets into a man and 9 bullets into his wife on the same night. Again, a Trump lover, of course, committing egregious, violent crime. How are Republicans making us more safe? We're just here to protect the American people from these dangerous immigrants. We need protection from the dangerous Republican traitors, right? The disgusting pigs that want to do harm to anyone that doesn't think like a dumb shit moron, right? Anyone that doesn't want to take away your freedoms and doesn't agree with Donald Trump, well, they're un-American. No, they're the most Americans. The most Americans are the ones that disagree with the Nazi dictator in the White House. Holy shit. Oh, all right. So raids continue on farms and hotels, and man, I am not looking forward to when these sick, racist Gestapo pigs come to Maui, where everyone's brown skinned. Everyone's gonna look like somebody these racist pigs are gonna want to arrest and lock up, and that will be met with resistance on many levels. And I don't see our police force is almost entirely not white. And if they are complicit with assisting with them, it'll be disturbing and a big surprise. So, goddamn. Mario Guevara, a news guy, was locked up after a No Kings protest and taken to an ICE detention center. And he's got a big following. He's just a guy out there trying to show what's happening. Mayor Adams' quid pro quo blocked. So there, he agreed. He capitulated with the racist Republicans and said, "Yeah, we'll put an ICE office at Rikers Island," and the local judges would not allow it. So that's a little bit good. Mayor Adams is going to run for mayor again. So corrupt. And Mario Cuomo, who is so corrupt, is also going to run anyway, even though he lost to Zoran Mamdani. God bless that guy. You kind of love his energy. And if I was in New York, I would be voting for that guy in a heartbeat. Right? What if we had, I mean, Republicans will never understand this or ever say anything to this, but what if we had people that we elected that wanted to make the world a better place? Like, just that's all. We just want to elect people that want to make the world a better place. Try to improve the quality of life for as many people as possible, right? The greatest good to the greatest number. Of course, we have a huge deficit of that, and that's quite sad. But in a perfect world, all the people aspiring to get into office would only be people wanting to make the world a better place, not criminal bribe takers, bribe makers, rapists, racists, Republicans, destroying our country from the inside out. They love to call everyone else the enemy. Everyone else is the enemy within. Really? I think it was best put by that former Republican old guy at one of those town square meetings, where he said, "I think I pledge to defend the Constitution from enemies abroad or within," and he said, "I think you are the enemy within," and I agree with that guy, that old veteran who was a Republican. So yeah, veterans can be refused because they're Democrats, because they're unmarried, right? Because they're not Christian if they're unmarried. And anybody of any kind of gay status, they now have the right at the VA hospitals to deny care, thanks to these racist freaking bigots. Un-American. Horrible shit-ass people we call sociopathic narcissistic Republicans. We need to eliminate the Republican Party altogether. We need a second party that does all the things that the Democrats do for the most part, and they're pro-peace. They're against war. It wouldn't be nice if we had one party that was not pro-war and then one that already is. We can't do nothing about them. But right now we just have two pro-war parties. And when there's these Republican votes for god-awful things, why is there always 5 or 10 Democrats that vote for the same evil crap? I mean, just today there was another one of those. Anyway. 26,000 doctors, 9 million patients. are going to be negatively affected by. Oh, that's how many doctors and patients we have at the VA. 26,000 doctors, 9 million patients. It's the largest system of any kind in our country. And that's where all this discrimination is going to happen, right? There. If you're unmarried, if you're a Democrat, God, all the people who never vote are suddenly like, oh, I'm so stoked I never voted, because the government can't be weaponized against me for voting for a Democrat, right? Oh my God. It's so sad. I'm registered as independent, but they'll see that the only time I started voting just to save the country. I voted for Joe Biden. That was my first time I voted. I think I tried voting a few times previously, but there's almost no record of me before. Thank God for Joe Biden. And it's amazing how ignorant these people are that want to accuse him of anything. And even as if like getting old was a crime. I mean, it's all a joke. And I'm surprised, and they still do, but I'm surprised they're not blaming Hillary or Bill Clinton, Anyway, for all their problems. So yeah, Mayor Adams is going to run as an independent, and in a third party called the Fight Party or something, Mario Cuomo, and that is what they think they're doing is going to take away. They think they're going to take away from Mamdani's votes, right? Because they're both former Democrats, right? And so they think, because they're just total assholes, and they're greedy, and they want to, seize power and manipulation and get rich off of all of this too at the same time. God bless that Mamdani guy. And boy, isn't it funny watching these, the really evil business news people, they're showing their true colors, right? Business news used to be, I've been watching business news since the early 90s. And Joe Kernan and David Faber were on Squawk Box in the early 90s. They worked together, and oh my God, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. It is so partisan now. There's so many Trump sycophants or Republican sycophants in business news that it's just hard to watch. And you can't trust Wall Street because it's being manipulated by all these Republicans who aren't tethered to any sort of morality. They have no sense of right and wrong. It's all about greed. How can they game the system? Take, not give, Anyway. Purdue's been let off the hook for 850,000 people it's murdered with its drugs. Republicans, the Sackler family, Republicans murdered 850,000 people in America. Republicans, right? And with Oxycontin, all the lies that surrounded it, and the deaths are continuing because of the habits and the patterns of that having seeped into the veins of our country, and people continuing to do it. But as you know, my advice is simple: don't snort anything. Don't pop pills. If you don't snort anything and you don't pop, and of course, don't inject. Don't be an intravenous drug user. It's weird to me how people are just rushing the masses are just rushing to be intravenous drug users if they're a little overweight. Give me some of that diabetes drug. It'll help me lose weight. I got to shoot up? I don't care. Oh my God. I would never want to shoot up to lose weight. I would much rather eat right and exercise. That would seem, and it is possible. If you train hard enough, you can change a lot. Anyway, okay. Israel, at the beginning of this thing, they bombed a bunch of senior leaders and bombed a bunch of scientists, and they bombed Iranian TV. It's killed about 1 million people. 1,000 people in Iran at this point, and there's supposedly a ceasefire. There was supposedly one before, but the truth is, we know Bibi wants to keep bombing. He's going to look for any excuse to bomb Iran more, to kill more Persians, Muslims, Arabs, everyone. He's bombing Lebanon. He's bombing Syria. He's bombing Gaza. He's committing murder in the West Bank. and stealing land there. And he's murdering people in Yemen, bombing them indiscriminately. And oh my God, our base was bombed in Qatar. Oh yeah, yeah. Why wouldn't it be? I mean, we should expect that. We are asking for it, right? And that's of course what they're going to look for. There'll be a story in the news that says, "Oh, an act of aggression was taken up against us, so therefore we must do that." Oh, and meanwhile, what does Trump want to do? The no war president. He wants to change the Department of Defense, the name of it, to the Department of War. Right, the no wars president. Yeah, he wants to change the Department of Defense to Department of War because he just wants to put us in a constant state of war, home and abroad. Right? It's 1984. It's gross. It's evangelical psychopaths mixed with 1984, mixed with a whole bunch of incompetence and evil. Hard to understand. Hard to understand. And the part where people want to be part of that or give it a pass or say, "Oh, I agree with that policy," you know, that murders, that death cult policy that's killing people. These are human beings. We're slaughtering them like cows that we hate. It's so sad. Trump threatens all of the people of Iran, a huge city with millions of people. Oh, you should all evacuate Iran. So that creates mayhem, right? And really weird and gross and upsetting for a lot of people. And it's going to trigger people to want to do harm to you and me, right? Why do we want to put a target on our back? We keep doing this. Our arrogance is just so brutal. All right. Bibi says, "Oh, if we can murder the leader of Iran, that'll end the conflict." Right? No, it won't be the start to a new conflict. That'll be the end of a conflict. No, I don't think so. And that's not real smart, is it? And why does it always have to be murder? Right? Aren't Jews supposed to believe in the Ten Commandments too? Are these the pro-murder Jews and the pro-murder Christians? It's just god awful. And it's right. Well, we're all watching this. Everyone. So, of course, this dangerous, god-awful regime that wants to kill everyone on earth so they can bring Jesus back because they're psychotic. They're talking about the use of nuclear weapons. Already, we're only 5-6 months in. And, of course, we've been told that what's going to kill us all is super artificial intelligence combined with psychotic religious people and their dogmatic beliefs, right? The marriage of those two things. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing psychotic Zionists combining with super artificial intelligence to take away all of our rights and to push us to the brink of catastrophe when there was no problem. When Joe Biden was in office, we were humming along. The world was a pretty beautiful... I mean, yes, there was a war and a genocide in Gaza already and in Ukraine. Yes, but they got a lot worse since. And they're only going to continue to get worse because Trump has said, "Hey, man, here's all the 2,000-pound bombs you want," that Biden wouldn't let him have. And Biden held up 20,000 assault rifles that was going out to the settlers, the people that just love to shoot Palestinians with impunity. No one's ever charged for crimes for killing people. And Trump immediately put those 20,000 assault rifles on the streets in Israel and reassumed giving them 2,000-pound bombs, which take out about a city block and kill people within 100 yards of the blast because it just ruptures all their internal organs. It's just, and there's no military installation to be bombing, right? Like when Ukraine bombs something, it's an airport, it's a military installation, right? Not that there's anything that makes sense in war, but if you want to be a person who's perpetrating war in a way that sort of makes sense strategically, you would attack military things, and which would usually not create a loss of so much life. But Anyway, all right, what else? What else? Of course, sick and twisted Pete Hegseth, after not answering a question and putting us all at risk, and of course, in line with what I'm talking about, fortunately, his vision of killing most of the people on earth for Christians to inherit it, right? The Armageddon that we need to bring, right? What does he say? Something, the sickest thing, the scariest thing, because he, in his mind, this is a Christian crusade. We got to kill Muslims, and that doesn't put a good target on our back. I don't know what does. He says, "Glory to God." He says in a Secretary of Defense role at the podium, after being asked about all the crimes he's committing. Glory to God. Yeah, no, you're not bringing any glory to anything or anyone. You're just putting us all at risk. God, he is so incompetent. He's such a drunk. He's always pissed off from the alcohol he drank the night before, right? He probably has to drink hard as soon as he gets home at like 6 in the evening to 8, so that he can be sober by the time he wakes up and goes to work. But man, he's pissed off, hungover. So Trump has to leave the G7. We saw that because Zelensky was coming, and he's such a pussy. He couldn't be there when Zelensky showed up. Everyone likes Zelensky, cares about Ukraine, not Trump. He cares about what Putin wants him to do, because he has been a Russian asset for 40 years, right? Just being played by the Russians to this day. But a coward, and he presented himself as a coward. He was a fool. He dropped a bunch of papers at the G7. But yeah, he is, God help us. I just pray that we all survive another 3.5 years, and that we're allowed to vote in a year and a half, and that we're allowed to vote in 3.5 years. Because if our country continues down this path of voting for Republicans, it's over. I mean, it might already be over. We just don't know it yet. It's just already happened, but we haven't realized it. It's just lethal chaos in Gaza. Russia's been attacking Ukraine worse than ever before, right? Just when Trump said something about, you know, you guys stop fighting. Oh, no. They just bomb them worse than ever before. And Trump's like, oh, I just got to let the kids play and of course, Russia, evil Russia that Trump loves, bombs civilians, bombs apartment buildings, bombed the train, bombed a marketplace, is bombing civilian places, just murdering people. Zelensky is targeting airports, and, you know, so there is no real comparative morality there. Zelensky is just he's many people's heroes. He's incredibly brave and a good man, and was a comedian who turned into a politician. He's a good example of what's possible. Minnesota Vance Bolter. Oh, yeah. All right. I already talked about that Vance Bolter, the right-wing extremist murderer who's part of the 80% of all the terror in our country is committed by Republicans, right? Republican terror at the behest of the Republican Party, and all of the things that they say about everyone being the enemy. CNN's the enemy. Democrats are the enemy. What pussies. It's just sick. Tennessee book bans. The ignorance feeding ignorance. These people are raising kids. People that just banned the book of everything about cats, the book of everything about dogs, and 1,000 other books that have nothing to do with anything. Because ignorance is important. You got to make people stupid. The dumber they are, the more likely they are to become a dangerous, evil Republican. By the way, thank you, Crown Royal. Look at that. I bought a $44 bottle of Crown Royal, which I never would have bought otherwise, because they have to endure the insults of the bigoted, racist, imperialist assholes we call Republicans in our country, who want to take over Canada, which is England, right? Do they realize you're starting a war with Canada and England at the same time? Is that smart? Not smart. So let's hope that just never happens. But if it does, I'm going to do my part and drink Moosehead beer and drink Royal Crown Royal, excuse me. I think my brain is, I don't know if I'm just flustered. Oh, Kat Abu Ghazaleh. Yeah, she's awesome. I found her name finally. Anyway, yeah, Tennessee book bans. Good job, you guys. Yep. If you weren't dumb enough already, you're going to be even dumber because you get less books that could have changed that. Oh, I pray. If Tennessee decides it doesn't want to be a shithole state, it could just start voting for people who with a heart and a soul. You know what I mean? Like people with a heart and a soul who don't want to do harm and cruel things to people through the government, don't want to discriminate against people, just treat people with love and respect, giving people the freedoms we deserve from our Constitution. That'd be cool, man. And when you do that, I will buy Tennessee whiskey. Kentucky is close. They got a good. Andy Beshear is a great governor. They got a Democrat governor. Can you believe it there in Kentucky? But if you just be kind enough to vote for some other Republicans in your state, in the state House of Reps, and your Congress people, if you could do that, I will buy Kentucky bourbon. All right, I'd love to, and I'll drive to your state and take vacation there, and make sure I spend some money in your what are now shithole red states. Right? So sad. You guys voted to get some tornadoes right now, didn't you? And some flooding. That's what you wanted. And 110-degree heat. You wanted that, so you voted for it. And if anything happens to you, well, you voted for someone who wants to make sure that you don't get any help from the government, right? Because that's why you pay taxes, to make sure they never do anything to help you. All right. Good job, Republicans. You're so smart. How about that? Oumuamua. Oumuamua. Uma-ua. That object that traveled through space that is now, it had all these properties. It made no sense. The way it moved, the speed it moved, its trajectory, where it went, it is believed to be alien. And that's interesting. It looked like it was much bigger to me, but it was only the size of a football field. It looked like a big giant rock, right? Big oblong rock, but that's really interesting. And now it's gone, far off away from us. So far we can't even, anyway, that's fascinating. I saw this, Danny Jones, this podcaster guy, interviewed this lady about fertility, and it was interesting, talking about all the things that disrupt, endocrine disruption, right? It happens from many sources, many things in our environment, and it was interesting. Declining fertility. What's interesting is, and this is something I mentioned before, there are countries that are knowingly losing their population. Korea, China, Japan, they're losing 100,000 people a year because more people are dying than are being born, etc. Right? These are often pretty homogenous countries, or Japan, Korea, and so they don't always want people who are different than them moving there and diluting their race, right? It's not uncommon to this day, even in the United States of America, if you're an American with Japanese roots, your parents might encourage you to marry a Japanese person. Jewish people do the same thing. Of course, white inferiorists do the same thing. But what if, right? What if suddenly, and our country is on a declining population, and they're saying, we need to have more babies, while we're brutally kicking hard-working good people out, smart people. I mean, it's just, it's so ignorant. Anyway, people from other countries are beautiful people. They work hard. What if Japan was smart enough to say, hey, we'll take those beautiful Venezuelan people. You don't want those beautiful Mexican people. Come here. We'll treat you well. We'll educate you. We'll allow you to work 50, 60, 70. They got an intense work ethic in Japan, right? And then let them integrate into the country. And if you put a little beautiful juice into that Japanese population, just imagine how beautiful the people would be if when Japanese people marry other people, you know, you just get beautiful people. And of course, people that you'd want to have sex with. Korea, same thing, you know, whether you're taking people from North Africa or from Venezuela or Haiti or Cubans or Mexicans or Ecuadorians or Southeast Asians, you know, people that are different than you, and you mix them up into your population, it's only going to make your country stronger and better and more beautiful and inspire people to want to fool around more. But these countries haven't got smart enough to do that. They're just watching their future get worse. In 750 years, Korea will have 0 people if they continue on the path exactly as it's happening right now, for instance. So I don't understand why, while countries are complaining that they're going to lose their population, including ours, you know, we do everything we can to reduce our population. It just doesn't make sense. Oh, man. A Purple Heart vet from Hawaii has been told to deport back to, I don't know, I forget the country. It's like Korea, I think. That's just, what are we doing? We're deporting people who were injured, saving somebody. Anyway, it's just, there's so many of these cases. There's literally tens, hundreds of thousands of these cases. We're only seeing a few of them, but every case is similar because none of these people are criminals. They're being framed as criminals, and then of course they go from rapists and murderers to, oh, they're just here, so therefore they're illegal. They've committed the crime of being here, which isn't a crime. We've always been the country that opened its arms up to people from other countries and became stronger because of them, thanks to them. And I appreciate you. The Supreme Court ruled that 500,000 people can be deported. Also that we can deport people to third countries. I already said that. Adrian Martinez, that's the guy. Adrian Martinez was American citizen, brutally treated by ICE agents, government thugs, beating him up, locking him into it, putting handcuffs on him, taking him off the job, and then Walmart fired him. That is reprehensible. Walmart funded Project 2025. Walmart, I am personally boycotting Walmart. I haven't been since they funded Project 2025, which is the Nazi manifesto, which is being played out in front of us every single day. Al Green, a Texas Democrat, God bless him, he brought up articles of impeachment. What I don't get are any and all of the Democrats that vote against it. It makes no sense. I don't get that. But it got like more votes than the last one, but not very many, like 80 votes or something. I don't get it. Emile Bove is almost as disgusting as Stephen Miller. He is evil. He's a certain kind of judge evil, right? He's trying to become the Third Circuit Court judge, and it'll be a betrayal to the American people if Republicans vote for this guy. He said, F you, fuck you, to having to follow the orders of judges, right? When it comes, he's at the Justice Department right now, and he's openly defying and violating judges' orders and having fun doing it, causing harm, hurting people. By the way, this guy to the racist Republicans who I grew up around, when they look at Emile Bove, they don't see an American. They ask him, hey, so where are you from? A guy like him, they'd say, so where are you from? And he would know that doesn't mean what part of America are you from, because that question, when it's asked towards somebody that doesn't look entirely white or sound it, or their name is suspicious, they ask them, so where are you from? Because you ain't possibly from America, right? Like if you're Asian, like I get that here. Someone will be Asian. A tourist will be Asian on vacation here, and I'll ask them where they're from, and I am innocently just asking where in the United States, of course, are they from. But they know from past experience with racist white inferiorists that what is often the real question is, what other country are you from? Because you don't look American, you got slanty eyes. That's what Republicans think, right? And so I just feel so bad, because I could see it. I know why they respond that way. They say, oh, we're from America. I'm like, oh, I know that. You know, that happens all the time. Why? Because of racist Republicans asking anyone brown skin, so where are you from? Oh, where's your family from? You know? Yeah, I've been around that. So yeah, Emile Bove is a threat. He's the enemy within, and he's going to become a judge that passes judgment on people and issues and rights, and it's very scary. Your Republican, if you live somewhere where you got a Republican congressperson, you should call them and make sure that guy is not voted for. If you care about your country, but Republicans don't, right? Oh God, I met some god-awful people from the state of Washington, Suzanne, and they were disgusting Republicans, and I just can't imagine now at this point, knowing all this harm. Hundreds of thousands have already been murdered by way of starvation and bombs and just evil and cruelty, and in our country and in detention, so much harm. The taking away of food and medical care and everything, right? So much harm. These people were, and at this point, if you're still openly, just happily, and they were like, oh, we disagree, and it's like, this isn't a disagree. They disagree that Trump is like a Nazi, and that he's doing harm to our country. I'm like, oh, you just disagree? No, there's no two sides to the story. You're either pro-murder or you aren't. And if you're pro-murder, you're fucking inhumane. A Republican has to be an inhumane piece of shit at this point to even want to identify with that shit. And it's nobody I know, thank God. It's nobody I associate with. None of my friends are this way. I have a couple family members that are that fucking stupid and depraved, but I could never fucking go down that slope. I can't imagine giving up on caring about, having empathy, caring about right and wrong, caring about the rule of law, doing right by your fellow man. I mean, it's just, it's so far from having a conscience. It's unbelievable. So yeah, if you're a sociopath, narcissist, no conscience, you don't care, you're pro-death, yeah, it makes sense that you're a Republican. But yeah, that's the other side. You're sick in the head. You're politically, mentally ill. It's a mental fucking illness. It's a death cult. Just like you religiously mentally ill people. You Republican religious people are religiously mentally ill. And you're politically mentally ill. And it's very sad for everyone who used to know you to see that. But you don't have any perspective. And then, of course, the Epstein files. That's a fun subject, isn't it? Because Trump's all over them. Trump is a child rapist. He used to be famous. Epstein tells the story as he was his idol. Trump would go down into the lobby with his name on the building from his penthouse, right, before Melania, and he'd try to pick up underage girls, bring them upstairs, and have sex with them. That was Jeffrey Epstein's idol, his best friend for about 10 years. Best friend was Donald Trump. And all these conspiracy theorists want to just look away from all that, right? All the Republican dirtbag, racist, rapists, They want to look away from that, right? It's just so disgusting. And what about the New Mexico ranch? God, it'd be great to send people out there. And what about those 10,000 tapes? And what is Cash Patel hiding? And Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi. Oh, God. To think they were the ones that were going to be the ones to release harmful stuff about Trump. Yeah, right. And all those supposed morals they had. Yeah, right. There's no morality. It's just sick and twisted. Sick and twisted. All right. Imposters, of course, because these unlawful, unconstitutional kidnappers wearing federal uniforms. By the way, this is tyranny. This is everything gun owners, not Republicans anymore, but all the other gun owners who aren't actively trying to destroy their country, which is a lot of people. Gun owners say two things. Yeah, outlaw guns. Only guns are gonna have. Outlaws are gonna have guns, which is just stupid because right now we got a free guns for all the outlaws program. All the outlaws have every gun they could ever want. That's a good program. Dumb shit Republicans. But they also say another thing, right? Oh, I need my guns to stop a tyrant. You know, that's how our country became a country. We had tyranny, and it was our right to bear arms. It stops tyranny. How long will it be before they come after people's guns, right? Or people with guns realize this is a tyrant that they need to stop and take up arms against. I just wonder, but isn't it crazy that the same Republicans that complain about tyrants, which is why they gotta have guns, are now patting a tyrant on the back and say, yeah, take away all our rights. Just don't take away my guns. And then that's the bribe I'll vote for you on. Or maybe it's the vaccine bribe or the lies about women's health care, whatever lie it, or the lies about there's no such thing as global warming. Oh my God. It's all some bribe or lie that makes a Republican a Republican. It's so sad. So, yeah, imposters, because you can buy that costume, the vest, you can buy it all on eBay, right? And then walk around and you can detain women and rape them. You can detain people and rob their stores, like happened in is it Philadelphia? Imposters are dressing up, playing dress up. White supremacists, white inferiorists are dressing up and doing harm and crime in the name of ICE and DEA and HSI and ATF and FBI. And while all these FBI agents are out detaining hard-working, good people who aren't criminals, who don't commit crimes, never have, never will, there are criminals that want to do harm to America that they aren't working on. And that puts us at risk. But that's, I think, the point, partly. They want to put us at risk. Okay, Alligator Alcatraz. Talk about pure evil. They're taking an airstrip, and no one's even put two and two together on this one. They're taking an airstrip. It's an airstrip in the Everglades where you can't escape from. These aren't criminals. These aren't murderers. These are people guilty of an 80-hour work week doing your landscaping. And they're now being taken from their children and put in a detention in the Everglades where they're going to probably cook to death because they're probably not going to have very good air conditioning. They're not going to be treated well. They're not going to be fed well. They're not going to be given medical attention. And then as soon as they can, what are they going to do? They're going to fly in those planes and board them there. And just from there, they're going to make, oh, it's not really a detention facility. It's a place to put people right before you put them on a plane and just start sending them to third countries, take these people, get them out of here, get them. That's Stephen Miller. He's sick in the head. And he comes from fucking Holocaust survivors. And now he's committing another Holocaust. It's just disgusting. It's awful. So that's Alligator Alcatraz, right? And these sick Republicans in Florida are just all for it, right? Hurting the innocent. And I can't even believe they lied to everyone and got everyone through their lies. Like, they got Palestinians to vote to destroy Palestine. They got Cubans to vote to deport their husbands and themselves. How about those that dumb shit woman that's all over the news? Her father, terminally ill father. She sang the song, Cubans for Trump or something, or I'm voting for Trump. And now her father who's going to die soon, is going to live the last days of his life in an ICE detention facility because of who she voted for. Imagine having that on your conscience. It's all this is on all Americans' conscience, but it's, if any Republicans have a conscience, the few that do, that aren't total sociopaths, they're feeling pain right now watching all this harm being done to people they know. And it's heartbreaking. All right, let's see here. Sonoma County bought a drone to do one specific thing, and now they're using it for a whole bunch of other things. Just one drone, one surveillance drone, looking into people's backyards. And that is why we got to stop surveillance and not allow our government to do any of that shit. The flock surveillance cameras, all of it. And we need to restrict, all of it. It's too invasive. It's un-American. It fights. It goes against freedom. And we should have a law that says you can't collect data on Americans, period. No one should be allowed to collect data on anyone for any reason, period. How about that? We just end all of this sick and twisted evil surveillance shit that all the sick and twisted evil tech billionaires want to do and monetize. They want to monetize taking away all of our privacy. And it's disturbing, it's wrong, and wouldn't it be great if we had politicians that said that I want to build housing for the workforce, right? And we could do that at break-even costs, right? We get land because we have land, state, all the government agencies, state, federal, county, they all own land, right? Private donors, let's get land. Let's build communities where it costs $100,000 to build a small home, tiny home, whatever you want to call it, different versions of it, right? Get that all going. And then come on down. You got a job? Let's get you not in a car. Let's get you in a house. And start you on maybe a probationary period because maybe you have no credit. Doesn't matter. Bam, mortgage it. They'll pay the $100,000 cost, right? Okay. So you give them the mortgage. Now, what's the mortgage on $100,000? Oh, $400, $500, $600 a month. Oh, that's real affordable. That'd be great for the working class, wouldn't it? And they'd own the home. And then just say, look, you can only qualify if you don't own any other property. And if you want to sell it, you can only sell it for $10,000 more than you paid for it, right? And then what does that do? That keeps their property taxes way down. And if they want to live there the rest of their lives, they can live there for the rest of their lives on something their Social Security check would help them afford. $400, $500 a month, right? And it's not a giveaway program because they're paying for their housing, right? And then just roll it over right into the next person who qualifies into that program. And right, property taxes always kept down, mortgages always kept down. They're always paying for the property, right? It's not a giveaway. It's not welfare. It's just smart, right? And we could do that here in Maui. Start with the oldest people in the community, the people that lived there the longest, born and raised, right? And then work backwards. And it'd be easy. And if you start with the oldest people and help them all get housing that they can afford with their Social Security, they won't live forever, and then those houses will turn over, and it'd be the best thing for everybody, right? Simple fucking program. We could have housing for everybody without any freaking welfare. The only welfare being the land that is granted to it, right? Which would be easy. You could even use eminent domain. Take it from some billionaire like Bill Gates, who owns fucking God knows how many millions of acres, right? Take it from those guys and just say, okay, eminent domain. You're a billionaire, you got property? Okay, we're just going to take your property. It's some of it. Little bit, just enough for this neighborhood. Anyway, if I was an elected politician, these are the things I would want to do. Kat Comac had an ectopic pregnancy, a deadly pregnancy, and of course she almost died because she lives in Florida, and she's an elected Republican who voted to almost die. Stupid Republican woman. I'll tell you what. Are Republican women dumber than Republican men because they vote to eliminate their right to vote? They vote to kill other women, right? It's one thing you can be sure of. If you take away women's reproductive health care, women will suffer and women will die. And remember when Trump said, yeah, we have to punish women. That's the sick mindset of these sick, religiously, mentally ill people. You got to punish women. And in other communities too, oh, punish women. She made me attracted to her, so she's to blame for rape. That's what these sick religious people think, right? Anyway, and so on. So, Mark Wayne Mullins, dumber than a stump. I like to call him Little Wayne. I'm pretty sure he's like 5'2". I would love to get into Congress. I'd like to get into Congress for many reasons. One of them would be just so I could say, hey, Lil Wayne, how you doing? I would love to call him Lil Wayne because, he'll want to fight me because he is not an evolved human being. He's a dipshit. And what did he do? Jesse Dollamore did a good story on this, but he divulged classified information. He put a target on Americans' backs, right? I'm so smart with the military because I'm a Republican. Yeah, what did he do? He blatantly explained that we have eyes on the ground. We have secret agents on the ground in Iran reporting to us, telling us what's going on. Was that a good idea? Was that smart? Oh, and what just happened? Do you know what just happened in Iran? They rounded up 700 people that they suspected of supplying information to Israel and the United States. 700 rounded up. Three of them have been executed already. Now, are those people who were doing that sort of thing? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? I don't know. But I wonder how many of those 700, if any of them were agents, were American agents, right? Murdered by Republicans, publicly stating that we have secret agents all over on the ground in Iran. Dumb shit. Lil Wayne, little Mark Wayne Mullins. God, Republicans are so stupid. So let's see. Republican criminals are hell-bent to round up 3,000 innocent people every day, guilty of picking your vegetables, washing your dishes. 3,000 a day, and there are no criminals to round up. And then when they round up someone with a criminal background, it's, oh, he was caught with a bag of weed 10 years ago and he paid his fine or did his time. And what about time served? What about paying for your crimes and that being enough? Nope. You didn't pay enough for your crime. Now we're going to send you to a death camp because you were caught with an eighth of weed 12 years ago. I mean, it's just so awful. And that's what these sick Republicans are doing to people. And then, of course, Palantir is in every phone, which brings up these. These are Faraday bags. I got these $19.95 on Amazon, and supposedly if your phone's in one of these, you can't be tracked. Or one of these. I got all these for $19.95. Or one of these. Or one of these. Or the biggest one, right? And I can imagine putting your phones in one and then that inside another, but you go dark for Palantir when that's what's going on. And if I was an immigrant with a phone with the app that they made me download, that is a Palantir app that's tracking your every location, every move. That's how they're finding these people in a field or in an apartment or whatever. And of course, they've tapped into the IRS and Social Security and employers' databases, and they're just evil. Pure kidnappers, human traffickers. Republicans have taken over all the jobs of human trafficking in the world. They're the biggest human traffickers in the history of the world right now, and it is sick and twisted. RFK fired everybody on the advisory board, and now he's hiring a bunch of dipshits, right? Because they want to get rid of the PhDs to bring in the DUIs. Oh my God. White affirmative action. When you take out the PhDs and replace them with high school dropouts, with DUIs, and conspiracy theorists, and people who know nothing about vaccines, but they know to be suspicious of them. Anyway, it's gonna kill. It's killing lots of people. It already has. Measles are spreading everywhere. They're spreading AIDS all over the world, and they're trying to take away. Planned Parenthood was just defunded for contraception. Can't be spending money on contraception, right? No condoms. You don't want, if we don't have condoms, we're gonna have a whole lot of disease. Because you know what condoms do? They stop disease. It's so cool. And abortion stops unwanted pregnancies, and that's so cool. If you never been privy to an unwanted pregnancy, what I don't get are the weak, meek guys that call themselves men, heterosexual men that aren't in favor of a woman's choice. I mean, if you knock a girl up and you're not really signed up to want to spend your life with that woman, why wouldn't you be in favor of a woman's right to choose, right? That is a get out of jail free pass. And no man in his right mind should, God dang it, why isn't this working? I'm trying to get this light working. Sorry, while I talk. Not very good at doing two things at once. But still, I thank God 100 times a day for giving me an IQ above Republican. Okay, that's the warm light. Now I want to dim that. And it just dies. Why? Anyway, I give up. Okay, so what else? How about, oh, if you didn't see this, the funniest shit ever. The funniest shit ever. The racist bigots in Boise, Idaho, heavily outnumbered. These freaking weirdo Republicans are such weirdos. The Boise Hetero Awesome Fest. The Hetero Awesome Fest, where they celebrate their heterosexuality. Oh, God. I'm embarrassed for them. Right across the street from the Capitol in this park, right? All sectioned off. A guy playing music in support of LGBTQ community. He gets stopped and ushered off stage, and he's an ex-Marine. Or no, ex-Army Ranger. That was beautiful. But literally there are 15 people in this whole thing. The whole thing must have cost so much money. And no money came in. So it was a huge bust. It's unclear at the end of it if they'll be doing this again next year. Oh, really? Anywho, God, I'm embarrassed for these Republicans at their hetero awesome fest. Meanwhile, Boise has come out massively in favor of the LGBTQ community, of human rights, of constitutional rights, of fighting tyranny, of hands off our Constitution. And God bless my brothers and sisters in Boise, Idaho. One of my good buddies lives in Boise, one of my old college roommates. He is a tennis pro there. God bless him. And a damn good one at that. All right. Yeah, and I just keep coming back to that all these. It's traumatizing to watch innocent people being traumatized, and that is the point. They want to destroy us inside out. So we got to do our best to stay positive, be kind, and do our best to be the best people we can be. But it is hard, and what's crazy are the people who are incredibly empathetic and sympathetic to the point where, like that one military guy lit himself on fire and killed himself because of what he's witnessing the Israeli government do to the innocent people, the human beings that live in Gaza, right? He lit himself on fire. That other guy committed murder, right? Whether it's suicide or murder, all of this evil that these Nazi Republican regimists are doing is just creating fury, like internal fury. And sometimes that's going to surface into something that is like those things. And how are we going to see any less of that with them doing even more harm, right? Using the government to just do harm, to be cruel, to commit crimes, to take bribes, to steal money from taxpayers, from anyone. They're looting these people's houses. When they detain them and rip them out of their house, they go and steal all their shit. These are pirates, just like they're doing, the Israeli soldiers are doing in Palestine. They go in, they open up people's safes, they show off, look at all the money I'm stealing from these people who I just murdered. It's hard to imagine is even real, and we just keep seeing it every day, over and over and over. All right. A Ronald Reagan judge calls out racial discrimination. More than 16 million will lose their health benefits, according to some, with what's going on with the deadly bill that has so many evil things, like taking away the court's ability to hold people in contempt, flooding the streets of America with silencers. Right? That's pretty weird, isn't it? Because they want terror. They want people terrorized, afraid, right? Because they're domestic terrorists, Republican domestic terrorists, sow harm and crime by releasing silencers to everybody. Scary. Supreme Court affirms that the ban on services and rights for the trans community in Tennessee. And while I'm not part of that community, I'm part of the community of humans who want to be treated fairly and equally. And if you can harm them, you can harm me. And it's just a matter of time, right? Because I'm not one of you traitors, you Republican, racist, bigoted traitors. Seditious insurrectionists who've all been given jobs rounding people up, doing irreparable harm. Wednesday, the National the Health and Human Services has the National Suicide Hotline has been taken away from the LGBTQ community, and they cut out some people because they want to just omit them from existence. And now the HHS is calling it the LGBT community, right? They're taking people away from the group, but also at the same time, the National Suicide Hotline has been thrown away, disbanded, canceled. And that will lead to deaths for thousands of people who are treated miserably their whole lives by people in their lives that makes them want to commit suicide, now no longer have a hotline they can call to stop themselves from committing suicide. But that's what these eugenicists want. They want to kill anybody who doesn't have the right cranium size. Oh, God, or whatever, or isn't the right color, or from the right country, or who's disabled or impaired or elderly. But that's just, they're just killing. They're on their murder rampage. That's one more way you can kill people, taking away their suicide prevention hotlines, like they did for veterans also. The Department of Homeland Security has put new limits on Congress from oversight, right? They need to give them 72 hours notice, and only at their sole discretion will oversight, because what's happening is people are being treated worse than dogs in a kennel in these detention facilities. They're fully overcrowded of people who've committed no crimes, but there are some criminals in there too, so it puts these people at harm. They're getting they're getting food with cockroaches in it, so no food. They're getting no medical care. They have no beds. It's brutal. And of course, they don't want to let any oversight from Congress in there, which is their duty and their right and their job. And so they're not letting any Democrats in to see what's really going on, because it's a death camp, torture camps. And they don't want normal people with a conscience, a heart, a soul, who care about the Constitution. They don't want those people to see any of that. Democrats, right, or independents. And so they're just keeping them out, right, because everything, and they're getting paid, and the profit motive is back there too. And this is another big story that's just constantly churning, and that's all the money that these racist bigots who are kidnapping people, locking them up, right, in for-profit prisons, Geo Group, and this other sick company that are publicly traded. People are getting rich off this shit, off of people's misery, off of people's death and harm. And that is pretty sick and twisted. You got to be one hell of a sociopathic narcissist to love hurting people for the sake of a little bit of money. That's just, it's no different than somebody who buys and sells children, right? It's sick and twisted. It's human trafficking for money. All right. And Trump remains in charge of the National Guard. Meanwhile, there's nothing for them to do in LA. There's 5,000 soldiers deployed in LA. What for? For 300 protesters. It's just a fucking joke. Trump is a joke. The Dodgers, I'm sure you saw this. They kept the Gestapo out of their parking lot. They wanted to use their parking lot as a staging ground. Meanwhile, immigrants are everywhere, working at the stadium, in the stadium, on the field. There's 260, 40, something like that. There's one more or one less. There's somewhere around 250 foreign nationals playing Major League Baseball in the United States. Won't be long before one of them is rounded up and thrown in prison, right? Because he's got brown skin. It's just so un-American, so sick and twisted. We are a nation that celebrates freedom. We are a nation that celebrates diversity. We are a nation that when we watch the Olympics, we take pride in seeing that we have a better Japanese ice skater than the Japanese do. We take pride in the fact that we have a faster black guy than any country in Africa does. We take pride in the fact that, we have Iranian wrestlers that are better than any Iranian wrestler in Iran or whatever, right? All of our diversity on our Olympic team before this racist regime got in office and tried to corrupt our youth into thinking that hating people and wanting to have a white race is okay. And anyway, if you're a young man, you need to celebrate the diversity of your country, right? And let's talk about being a heterosexual dude. Any real man is lucky as a motherfucker to live in a country where you have the option of every kind of different looking woman in the world, every exotic variation that a woman could look like, we have in our country. And that's a good thing. The cat's long out the bag. Anyway, but no, you're some white guy that only wants, you want to limit yourself to Republican white girls? Boy, are you going to have a shitty life, boy. A shitty ass life. Good luck with that. You could have a devoted, and the last bastion of devoted wives in our country are mostly immigrant women. Or a lot of them are, right? Because they got those old-fashioned values. You got to devote yourself to the family and the husband and the kids and not make it all about yourself like we're raising our American girls to think a little bit, right? We made a mistake. Like, growing up, we taught all the girls in the 70s and 80s, don't you depend on a man for nothing, and still to this day. You go get your own job, and of course, Republicans want to put you back in the kitchen. But the happy medium is telling our daughters, look, you want to not depend on a man for nothing. You want to go your own way, have your own profession, your own life. And when you meet a nice man and decide to have a family, both he and you need to end all that selfish kind of thinking and become devoted, selfless to the whole for the sake of your kids and for the sake of family. And that's how you make a family strong. You work selflessly for the benefit of others, and that's where you derive your pleasure from. The happiness that you bring to others, and their happiness brings you happiness. Right? And so, but we forgot the second part. We've been telling our girls, hey, don't depend on a man for nothing. You go get a job and an education, and that's all good. But it doesn't help when you get to the point where everyone needs to be selfless, and men are selfish too. just as selfish. I mean, it's equal on both sides. But my mom married a guy that was selfish and put himself, or never cared about anybody else's happiness but his own. I married someone who never cared about anyone else's happiness but their own, and so it works both ways. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know how I got on that tangent. Trump wants Netanyahu, who's super corrupt and took all kinds of bribes, and there's some sort of justice system that's still working itself out in the Israeli government. But of course, Trump wants him pardoned, right? The worst war criminal in our lifetimes, and one of the worst war criminals in the history of mankind, Netanyahu. He wants him pardoned. The defense bill is, or the deadly bill, excuse me, the evil bill, the murder bill, is the greatest transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich by paying for rich people's tax breaks, which they don't need, so that by taking away people's health care, their food at school for their children, their food at the food banks, if they're a working poor person. And just imagine any town where there's a lot of rich people. There's a lot of people that they need to serve them. Rich people have servants and drivers and maids and landscapers, right? Malibu, places like that, right? And so let's say you want to work in service at one of these jobs, serving a super rich person. You got to live in that place too. You have to live in that area. So you get an apartment that you can't afford, and food. So now you're fully employed and you need to go to the food bank to get free food because you can't afford food after you pay rent because it's so high where the rich people live, right? Hawaii, Lake Tahoe, the Bay Area, lots of places are like that now. Anyway, this demonization of the poor is weak, meek, and 100% Republican. Demonizing people, right? What Nazis did, right? If you dehumanize people, then you can harm them and everyone will be okay with it. You know, that's all right. It's just those people, right? The Israeli evil people, the Zionists, see Palestinians, the human beings, as cockroaches. And when they're killing them, they're just killing cockroaches. They're not even killing humans. That's in their fucked up minds, in their politically, religiously, mentally ill minds, the Israelis that are murdering Palestinians every day. Official toll, 60,000, but there's probably 120,000, right? And think about all those that are injured. For everyone that's dead, there's 3 injured. So what? There's 400,000 injured. Anyway. Relocate HUD. Housing and urban development in service to people who aren't the richest people in our country is basically being destroyed. They've got a really creative way to destroy HUD. They're saying, hey, we're just going to move all of you out of Washington and into this other building, into this science building where they just fired everybody. So everyone's just going to have to get up and move to another building. And in the process, HUD is going to be in complete disarray and will not operate at all. And then they'll set up, and then they'll be slashed and cut and burned. And it's really just walking them out a plank and pushing them off. But that's the first little step, right? They do it in incremental steps, these Nazis. Republicans have become Nazis. It's just sick. And I can't imagine wanting to associate with that shit. It's so gross. But it just says what a depraved, evil, soulless person you must be if that's who you are. Bezos is going to Venice, and what's great is even Bezos pays no taxes here, right? Pays no taxes here. Amazon pays no tax. Great, so awesome. So he's going to Venice, but and Venice is like, fuck you, and he's got to move his venue, and there's this giant sign that said, pay more tax. But they're just referring to all these billionaires going there, destroying Venice for Jeff Bezos' sake. And they're not being charged enough tourist taxes, right? And they need to be nailed to the wall with tourist taxes for coming there and destroying the planet and destroying Venice. And what's interesting is this backlash against over-tourism. And this is a subject that is of mine here in Hawaii, right? It kind of makes me crazy to think that there is no control. Airlines can bring in and out as many people as they want. There's no rules, there's no controls. They can bring in way more people than there is space for. There's no regulation of the numbers of people that come to Hawaii, whether our infrastructure, whether our people, whether our communities can tolerate or handle it. And the exploitation of Hawaii has occurred because of that. But also, it just puts us out of balance. But it puts other places even at worse situations. So people in European places, Italy, parts of Italy, are saying no to tourists. You're destroying our communities. And so that's fascinating because there's that same sentiment here, and for good reason. But what if there was some sort of coordination between the number of spaces we have for people here, the amount of traffic we would like to have come and go? There's got to be levels, too little maybe, too much, optimum levels. There's no consideration to any of that. It's just free markets, which I'm a free market guy, but still, we could get ahead of what's going on in Europe, because that it will happen here. It already is. And so we're eliminating short-term rentals because they're way out of balance in step with our community, and so on. So that's what's interesting about the Jeff Bezos thing, is he owns a house here, right? How'd you like to be a billionaire that lives on an island where what is the most fun way to live on an island is to be well-liked, to go out in your community and slap hands, hey friend, what's up, friend? Having friends everywhere you go, right? If you don't know what it means to be the happiest person on the planet, it's living somewhere where you love everybody loves you, and you all work to take care of each other in your community, and it's a beautiful community. Everybody's happy and working hard and playing hard, and it's a great life, right? It's not the life of a billionaire that everybody hates, right? Maybe Jeff Bezos will go out to some very expensive restaurant and get treated well a little bit, right? But nobody fucking likes him. Everybody here dislikes him. Dare I say, hates him. And he exploited this place like every other place he goes. He bought a house he never spends time at. And when he's there, no one wants to be his friend. He's nobody's friend. So, yeah, that's not a recipe for a happy life. I'd rather be poor and have 1,000 friends than be rich and have everybody hating me. Elon Musk, does that ring true to you too? Oh, the only one hated more than Jeff Bezos is maybe Elon Musk. Donald Trump, Jeff Bezos, Stephen Miller. So many horrible people are disliked right now, thanks to their recent coming out. They came out of the closet and demonstrated that they are just soulless. They could care not about a future. Oh my God, it's so sick. I got this Republican psychopath lady downstairs who still is a Republican. And you know why? Because she knows the end of the world's coming. But she ain't going to be here for it anyway, so why should she care? That's her words to me. Well, I'm not going to be for it, so why should I care? Republicans are destroying the planet and killing everyone. Why should you care, right? Because you're going to be dead. But then there's these 23-year-olds that have been hoodwinked into voting against the environment. Imagine being 24 years old and you're voting for polluted skies, water. How dumb could you be? Imagine being a 22-year-old who's lived your whole life growing up in school in fear of a mass shooting at school. And you decide to vote for more mass shootings, right? Republican gun laws kill children and everybody else. But in schools, they kill children. Republican gun laws have killed thousands of children. Imagine being a child that grew up under Republican gun laws that killed thousands of children and then voting for more of it. It's sick. It's twisted. Republican gun laws, right? 2004, when Republicans decided to distribute military guns out on the streets of America. We didn't have military guns on the streets of America. They were prohibited because we were smart, right? Before that. But evil Republicans started flooding the streets with these military, and now they want to put silencers on them, and they just made it okay to make them into machine guns with silencers, military weapons. None of that makes any sense at all. But of course, a dumb shit Republican will say, well, I need this to protect myself from a tyrant, while he votes for a tyrant. Anyway, yeah, so I just can't believe these stupid young people. Oh my God. Being a young man, voting against your ability to get out of jail free if you knock up a girl you don't really want to live with the rest of your life and do the right thing because of. That's just anti-man. You know? Anti-manhood. Anyway. Because, you know, like when you're a young man, you might want to fool around, get out there and sow your oats. And women too. And you need to do it with condoms. And then if it breaks, you need to be able to, you know, get out of jail free so that you can move on to have the family of your choosing at the time of your choosing, having control of your body. What a death sentence it is for so many women who get pregnant in a shithole red state. Just imagine that. That's a potential death sentence, getting pregnant in any red state. And that is cruel and unusual punishment. But of course, Republicans and psycho Christians, mentally ill religious people, think women need to be punished. They're murderers if they want reproductive health care. No, they ain't. No, they're responsible human beings. And that's just cruel and unusually punishing. Yeah, J.D. Vance, what a pussy. Oh, you got a meme. You can't come here on vacation because you got a meme of J.D. Vance in your phone. That's most of the world. So, yeah, but we need to isolate ourselves. And this is just going to continue to reduce the size of our economy as planes don't come here, as we don't want to fly, as planes are dropping out of the sky because we have incompetent people running the Federal Aviation Agency. It is so frustrating. And now, of course, I've discussed the dying inmates in the prisons. These aren't detention centers. These are awful prisons, worse than Alcatraz, right? A bed and a toilet are more than these people are getting. And then the racial profiling, right? Isn't it great? We're just looking at a brown person, pulling over, throwing them on the ground, locking them up. Oh, you're an American citizen? Yeah, right. Look at you. You're brown skin. You must be from somewhere else. They must have gone to the racist places where the Klan and the Nazis are, and just said, "Hey, man, if you're a racist, come and apply for a job. We are hiring." They must have an employment office in Vidor, Texas, one up there near Hayden Lake, Idaho, maybe out there in Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. And all the most racist rural places, they must have employment offices just bringing them in. Oh, there was a report that a lot of these people who are hired from Eastern Texas, they're one of the most racist parts of the United States of America, Vidor being the cornerstone of it. That's where they like to hire prison guards, right? And a lot of the prison guards have been redeployed into detaining people. So they just have these brutal tactics, right? 100 days, Mahmoud Khalil was wrongfully incarcerated for having an opinion in a free speech country. Whatever happened to free speech, right? Republicans were free speech, you're taking it away on social media. No, you're locking people up for free speech. You fucking hypocritical Republican traitors. Jesus, it makes me sick. You all are making America sick, and the whole world sick. You're a sickness. Republicanism is a sickness. So yeah, 100 people killed every day. More people killed yesterday, today, last night in Palestine and Ukraine. And they're given no water, no food. So the landscaper, the IHOP landscaper, whose 3 boys served in the United States Marine Corps, who was guilty of working a 60-hour work week doing the landscaping at IHOP, was brutally detained, punched in the head, dislocated shoulder, given no water, no food, no medical attention. Just disgusting. And not my president, not my government, not my country right now. It's just awful. Because we are cruel and unusually punishing, another place that has an airstrip, Guantanamo, right? I see a pattern here. Detention center, airstrip, right? So they go from the alligator Alcatraz, they get put on a plane, sent to Guantanamo. Now they're out of the country at an airstrip, and then from there they can just take them to any third country and just drop them off and let them suffer whatever punishment that country brings to them. And what are they guilty of? A 60-hour work week, going to church on Sunday, being the perfect employee, the perfect neighbor. I've had more immigrant neighbors in my life as a blue-collar worker, living in Hawaii, working in Malibu, living in Malibu, Lake Tahoe, Northern California. All my coworkers have been immigrants, and they are all my neighbors, and none of them were criminals in any way, shape, or form. In fact, most of the time they don't even smoke weed. I'm like, because they don't want to get in trouble. I think too. They're just the best people. Not that there's anything wrong with smoking weed. I'm just saying, like, I see people who don't smoke weed as having just having a little bit more willpower than me. And let's see. $600 million for low-income people has been taken away. All the environmental justice grants that were being doled out have been withdrawn. And the Environmental Protection Agency gave a lack of any reasoning. There's no reasoning for why they eliminated all the environmental justice grants. They just did it, right? Safeway on strike. CEO makes $15 million a year, right? And they can't pay a living wage. It's a bad look. I'd like to see a law that says a CEO of a company cannot make more than 10, how about 20 times? 20 times the lowest paid employee in that company. Now, if that were the case and a CEO wanted to make $2 million, the lowest paid person in that company would have to make at least $100,000, right? So yeah, that would be 20 times, right? And that would be a janitor making $100,000 while the CEO makes $2 million, right? Or what was it, 10 times, right? In order to make $2 million, the janitor would have to make $200,000, right? That would put a great check and balance on distribution of wealth from corporations to its employees, right? And it would show an association and allegiance. Oh, and here's a simple way to get a whole bunch of tax money that we're not getting. Of course, that CEO, I don't need to know the details, but I know for sure because all CEOs make a portion of their income in stock, right? And they don't pay any taxes on that. So you get $5 million, you get $10 million in Safeway stock, and $5 million in cash, right? And then you never pay any taxes on it until you sell it someday. Here's what we do. 40%. 40%. So, okay, you want to get paid? Okay. $10 million in stock? Okay. You got to sell off $4 million of it the day you get it. And that's your tax, right? Boom. And that money goes to the treasury, right? So you pay taxes on all that income, right? Let's tax CEO stock income the moment they get it, 40%. And then capital gains on the rest that they profit from, right? That would raise so much tax money. Anyway, if I was president. Thanks to all the canceled, right? There were all these there are all these lawsuits, environmental lawsuits and things, lawsuits against Tesla. They've all been canceled, right? Any environmental lawsuit to protect you and I from pollution have been canceled. And that's going to mean we are going to lose $1.3 billion in fines we would have taken in as U.S. government, because we are fiscally irresponsible and environmentally irresponsible at the same time. That's a twofer. Australian writer Alliston Kitchen was detained because he came into our country and wanted to come here to do some stuff, report or on vacation. And Palantir just sniffs these people out, man. This evil software, and because he had written using free speech, doing journalism, real news, that the Republican wussbags are afraid of all the real information. And Donald Trump just yesterday attacked CNN for being fake news. Everything Donald Trump says is fake news. Everything he says is a lie. Everything Fox does is propaganda. It's the Fox lie channel. It's the Fox propaganda, Russian propaganda regime channel. And he's got people so stupid that they believe him when he says, no, all the other news is fake. It's what I tell you. That's all these lies. This is the real news. Oh my God. Imagine having an IQ so low. You can't figure that out? Yeah. Thank God I got an IQ above Republican. Oh, those guys. I feel sorry for them. How do they survive this world? Unless either they're given a bunch of free money from this government, like all these billionaires. The United Nations warns of a spiral of chaos from our chaotic, inept Republican regime getting involved in war with Iran, right? Not smart. 14 bunker buster bombs, 30,000-pound conventional bombs. And they set Iran back maybe 3 to 6 months. And then, of course, Trump lies about all that and says, no, we did more than that. And it's a grave violation. It will have everlasting consequences. 30 Tomahawk cruise missiles were fired from submarines also nearby into... So what is that? 44 missiles and bombs were dropped on Iran. So if they did that to America, that would be just an eye for an eye. And we don't need to have people thinking that, which is probably what they're thinking, right? But they're going to have their own way of finding revenge. And none of it's going to be good or could be good. And that is 2 hours of terrible news. Sorry, 10 days. If you don't have PTSD, if you've never experienced it, I think I'm improving. I'd like to think I'm going to get over PTSD from the fire. One of the 4 symptoms of PTSD is avoidance, which is like procrastination, basically. Best way to kind of internalize that. And that's what happens to me. I just start procrastinating. That's why I haven't done the news in 10 days. I wrote most of these notes 5 days ago. Several times I've wanted to do the news, but then it's hard to be inspired to want to go over all the terrible news as our country and the world gets led over a cliff by an evil suicidal clown. So that we can have Armageddon, so that some people will inherit the earth after killing everything on the earth and all the people and all the plants. You sick bastards are going to emerge from your holes in the ground to inherit the earth? Is that the idea? Holy shit, you are messed up. That is religious mental illness right there. Oh God, feel sorry for you. But what's sad is your sick ideology is going to harm everyone. It is harming everyone. At the very least, internally. People with any kind of a heart or soul watching the crimes being committed by this regime, this racist Republican criminal regime. All of the crimes, you know, they hurt people's heart. And no matter how tough you are, if you're not godless, if you have empathy, if you are human, it's not easy to watch. So, but it's still our job to have a good day, to make the best of it, to make the world a better place by doing the best we can to take care of each other and to enjoy this time we have on this beautiful planet, which could be run short by these sick, mentally ill people that have taken over our government. Our Supreme Court is sick. All of the 6 racist, bigoted, un-American, unconstitutional Supreme Court justices are killing us. And it's killing all of us inside. And then these sick, racist Republican Congress people who really, I can't believe, like, none of them have any connection to people because they're elected by people. They're supposedly the people representing people. And they have constituents who call them on the phone and say, hey, you just killed my dad by taking away his veterans' medical benefits, or my mom taking away her Medicare, or my dad who stopped getting his Social Security, or my daughter who just got locked up because she was brown-skinned. This is only leading to worse news tomorrow. You think the news is bad today? Wait, tomorrow's going to be worse. These piece of shit Republicans will make sure that we have shittier news every day until they either destroy most life on Earth or they're voted out of office. And let's just hope that the propagandists who are manipulating and destroying the youth of America, corrupting, that's what Socrates was accused of, corrupting the minds of the youth. And that is what Trump and Joe Rogan and all these racist traitor comedians are doing. Andrew Tate, it's unfathomable. These young men, I call in, there's this one kid that debates MAGA morons, maggots, who are just stupid. And they're off, these stupid young men who call in. And, oh, God, listening to them talk about how they, who do they follow on social media? And they're Andrew Tate, famously rapist, like child rapist, kidnapper, trafficker, someone who likes to hurt women, just glorifies it to young men, hurting women. That's who many of these young men are looking up to. And it is heartbreaking because they're evolving from this shit. And we need to find a way to stop it, right? I mean, I wish my audience was bigger so that I could get through to young men who don't understand what it means to be a young man. Holy shit. Yeah, hating women doesn't make you more heterosexual. Mistreating them, wanting to harm them with laws and your hands. Anyway, yeah. See, Andrew Tate is part of this sick male chauvinist culture that is so far from understanding what it means to be a real man. They love to tell jokes about how they love to not please a woman. The most manly thing you can do is give a woman an orgasm, right? It can be hard work. Sometimes it's easier. Sometimes it's harder. But those are, for any real man, the memories of his greatest accomplishments in life, greater than all the other achievements, are the orgasms he's given to a woman in his lifetime, right? I mean, that's real heterosexuality, you dipshit, racist, bigot, woman-hating Republican. I think you're all just gay guys that are frustrated, and it turns into hate for women, and then it's hard to understand, but I'm trying to make it simple for you. Anyway, if I offended you today, well, so be it. This is free speech at its best. God bless America. Oh, and I'm drinking my coffee black. It's getting cold too. Hi, Lauren. Jesus saves, but Esposito scores on the rebound. Esposito scores on the rebound. Yeah, Jesus coming soon. Explain that, Lauren. I gotta call you. Anyway, love you guys. Um, I'm not sure how much longer I can do the terrible news because it is so bad. You know what I mean? It is. It is so bad. Is it flooding? Someone just asked. Yeah, we've got these king tides. Funny, one person's like, "Oh, I just love king tides," and I'm like, "I don't think you understand the dangers of king tides. We have in an ocean that has risen. It's not rising. It has already risen, and then when you put a king tide on an ocean that's risen, it breaks walls and washes over beaches and pulls the sand off the beach and destroys the beach, which, you know, we might have a vested interest in keeping. But yeah, we've got these horrible tides that have been coming up at like 4 and then 4:20 and then 5 something yesterday, which is exactly when canoe practice is. And some of the canoes were in jeopardy of being washed off the beach. People got down there and saved the canoes, and and there's been a cleanup effort down there, but we haven't been able to practice canoe paddling because of it. And yeah, there used to be a beach out here, right? And now there's a huge retaining wall that had, I think, $20 million spent on it or something, or 2 million. I don't know how many million. And now that's breaking already. And yeah, you're seeing huge tides break over the wall. You can look up the king tide chart for Lahaina and you'll see it. It's like almost it's 80% of a meter. So 2.5 feet above its normal, above whatever zero is. At some point there's some midpoint. I guess it's zero, and then there's below and above, and it is like 2.5 feet above, and that's our king tide. Oh, and this is interesting. I still haven't mentioned this. I never saw these when I was cruising around the pride celebration. Sorry, I use the word gay. I think pride is the better word. The pride celebrations that we had on the same day as Donald Trump's birthday. They had this product, right? Cup condoms, because apparently there's so much roofies out there and so many evil Republicans that want to drug you so they can have sex with you because they don't know how to talk to you. Which, look, I understand the guy that buys and sells weed. And to a lesser extent, I can understand the guy that buys and sells cocaine, or, well, even though it's bad for you, but weed, okay, so you're buying and selling weed. You're not doing anyone any harm. The person who's buying and selling, heroin or Oxycontin, they're doing harm, right? But imagine the depraved, disgusting, dangerous person it would take to want to buy. First of all, where would you get roofies? Isn't that made in a fucking laboratory, some sort of pharmaceutical? And what is the pharmaceutical value of roofies? What would it ever be used for? Something that just makes you forget everything? The date rape drug? Like, where would someone find it? How would they get it? And then to be in the business of buying and selling it because there's just so much demand from rapists out there. It's so beyond anything I can understand. It's so disgusting, but yet, because there's so much roofies out there, so many people interested in raping you, you got to have cup condoms in response to that. This is the messed up world that the Republicans are bringing us into. Because typically it's always going to be, because 99.25% of Republicans are assholes. Those are the assholes that are going to want to rape you. Jesus. Here, let's look at a cup condom. Like, I'm worried someone's going to try to drug my drink. Oh my God. This is funny, huh? Look at this. The cup condom. And apparently you stick there's a tiny little hole here. Yeah, I wouldn't use this for your penis because there's a hole in the end of it. Be a funny looking penis, wouldn't it? I tell you what. I have a 1.5 inch penis with a 2-inch girth. Anyway, that would be funny. So that's the cup condom. Got that at the Pride celebration. God bless these people. I'm going to show up and support every gay everything now that they are the like the Jews being persecuted, like the immigrants being persecuted. And how many people are going to rise up to protect and help anyone they know that might be subject to detainment and kidnapping and foreign trafficking, when all they're guilty of is going to work every day and supporting this country's tax base and the Social Security and your community and your toilets and your strawberries and your kale and your milk and your meat. It all comes from hard-working immigrants. And yeah, no, we're gonna demonize them, make them terrible people. Midwest hockey. I was trying to tell that a person on the live that King's tide equals trouble. Oh, yeah, cool. But I don't know what Esposito is. That's where I have a heart. But okay, I love it. Anyway, I love you guys. Thanks for watching and participating in my channel. I have only been doing this and live feeds, and there's so much more. I've been making some videos that I haven't been posting. I did start making those canoe race videos, which I think are great. A great way to show off. And it's the one thing in the world of canoe paddling, it's a sport that's never seen, never witnessed. Nobody realizes how wonderful this sport is. So I do like the idea of shedding a light on what I think is the most beautiful sport that crosses into family, community, culture, athleticism. It's just so many good things. The environment, that I do like to show that. And I think in general, the paddling community would see that as a positive, as a benefit. Of course, we all think it should be in the Olympics. Oh, cool. I'm glad you like them, John. And so I'll try to make more of those. And then even the paddlers themselves like to see that. They like to watch their own race. You know, everyone wants to see how's their timing, how do they look from the beach, how's the whole crew look. You know, they want to judge themselves, everyone else. And especially when they're winning, you want to watch your victories. So, because you know, I don't want to experience pushback from doing something, sort of revealing anything about my local community that someone will be offended by. You know, and there might be somebody eventually, but generally speaking, I think that's a pretty safe bet. I feel a little weird about some of the real life activities in front of the camera, but that's the kind of stuff that'll age really well. You know, these kids are going to grow up. Maybe they'll see it someday and say, that's me when I was a kid. Or, you know, for the elderly person, it's like, oh, look at those kids playing chicken with kids on their backs. You know, I used to do that when I was a kid. You know, that was in one of the videos in the foreground. I generally try to get the community out of it so that I can focus on that, but I can't help it but get some of the community in the video. And although it's not bad, I just don't want, you know, people to feel like their privacy was infringed upon. In a world that doesn't give a shit about your privacy anymore. You know, whereas in other public spaces, I don't give a shit. In any other public space, I'm happy to film, and everyone's going to be in my video, whether they like it or not. But at the Canoe Beach, I don't want to, you know, I don't want to do anything to make anybody feel like they're being violated. So that's that, you know, and that's why. But when I focus on a race and it's just the race, and then the other stuff is collateral, it seems a little bit more righteous. So, but it is just a beautiful thing. And in a few weeks, and I'm probably not going to be involved. Like I won't be racing at states, but the state canoe racing championships, for all intents and purposes, will be held here. If the conditions are so horrible that they can't be, maybe they'll be moved to Kahului Harbor, which is what we do in that case. But that won't mean that I will have nothing else to do all day than to film and make videos from the state races. Now, those races will bring all the best clubs from all the different islands, from Kauai, from Oahu, from the Big Island, and the one club from Molokai, and maybe one from Lanai. And they'll all be here, and they will all be only racing in, I don't know what they're worth now. I mean, they might be $500,000 canoes. Every canoe is a koa wood canoe, right? Which are so valuable. To get a new one made will cost you a couple $100,000, right? So these clubs have had to raise $100,000 to buy one of these canoes to possess one. I mean, it's and they are just freaking beautiful. Another type of content which I'm going to film, and I already asked the guys that were doing it the other day if they would, how they would feel, and they were, oh, that'd be fine. So I'm gonna try to start filming the rigging of these boats, which I just need to learn. It's one of those things, you need to do it to learn it. You also need to watch it to learn it. It's a pattern of, cotton cords that, you tie these boats together. They're tied together with cotton cord and rigging. And it's, and anyway, I need to learn it. And if I can make videos of it, and everyone kind of has their own styles and methods that are a little different from each other. And so I'm gonna try to start filming the rigging of boats and posting it. It'll be pretty dry, but those will be personally for me so that I can watch it enough times for me to know it. So that when I step in there, I'll know, oh, this should go here, this should go there. This is where it goes next, this is where it goes next. I have watched it hundreds of times. It hasn't sunk in at all. So, and it's been a long time. I used to watch it years ago, but I paddled for 3 years, 25 years ago, and I never learned how to rig boats. So I need to learn how to do that. And so that's going to be a certain kind of interesting content that'll be coming up that may or may not be interesting to you, but it's what I need to learn if I want to be the best community paddling member I can be. I need to be aware and knowledgeable of that. So that's one little side note. Yeah, so, and then I'm going to start I need to start taking more long walks, right? It's good for mental health. And my disaster case manager recommended I take a walk every morning. And it would make sense for me to take long walks on the beach, the cliche, with a camera rolling. And early morning, midday, maybe at sunset, different times of day. I think it'd be fun when the beaches are full of people. It'd be fun when there's nobody on the beach. And different colors. And so I hope to do that. It's been my intention to do that for a long time, and I'm still failing myself on that endeavor. And then I've got another 50 videos from around the world that my grandpa made that you haven't seen yet. And I'm just going to start playing those at length, I think, not giving you parts of them, giving you all of it, because my channel is monetized for all intents and purposes. Even though I'm only making 90 cents a day, it's still roughly a gym membership, right? It's $300 a year I'm making right now I'm still waiting for my first check. But, maybe by the time I'm even older, if I live till into my 60s, and maybe in 10 years, I'll make enough money for that, and I'll be getting Social Security, and the two combined will make it so I don't have to worry quite as much as I would have, and maybe I won't have to work as much as I would have, or at all. Who knows? And I have this dream. I got to open a business. I got to open up Bradley's Going Bananas, place for comedy, with no alcohol, that smells like banana bread. And that is a dream and a goal. And I hope to find a lawyer, or maybe someone like John can help me understand how to rent a space. I don't need help with, I can come up with the money, all right? I need partners that'll just help me get that fucking space. And then I'll go buy some $16 chairs and stand on a pallet and start telling jokes, putting merchandise in there. And then with that business, the whole goal is grow the social media audience, 50 people at a time from my audience, and do both. And then have that business model grow to the point where it makes way more money in social media revenues than from ticket sales. But the ticket sales will hopefully pay the rent from the start. And that is a dream that I still am working on. I'm trying to rent out theaters, and that is goddamn frustrating. Today, I hope to go over to this theater, bring $300-400 cash, and say, can I make a deposit? You don't even have to give me a date, right? First she said it was going to cost $250 to rent the place on a Monday night. Now she's like, it's going to be $750. I'm like, whatever. I don't care. It feels like a bait and switch. I don't care. Let me just give you some money so I can start the process of, it's way weirder than I ever thought it would be. And all the while, the three different theaters, people, well, this little one, not so much, but the other two, this weird feedback of, I think it's going to be harder for you to sell out than you think, to sell tickets to your show. Does anybody, I've never heard of you. Does anyone know who you are? I don't think you should rent the 1,000. You should try this 300 seat one. Everyone telling me I can't do it. I don't have what it takes. Meanwhile, there's 40,000 tourists come here every week. I can walk the beaches the last days and sell tickets. I know 5,000 people tangentially on this island and to sell 300 tickets and to have months to do it. I mean, come on, man. Anyway, I don't see a problem selling out shows. I just need to book some shows so I can sell them out. The EAL Theater cost $2,000. I walked up there with $2,000 in my hand and said, let's get to work. They said, oh, no, you need to go home. We'll send you an email, and you need to respond to the email first. No, we won't take your money. I was there in the streets. The lady from the office was coming back from lunch. I'm like, can I just get a date? I got $2,000 right here. No, couldn't get it done. The Mac, they have like one show a week, 2 shows a week. They got vacancies every freaking night. I read them. How much is the Castle Theater? I want to rent it out. It's 1,000 people, right? I'd love to have the challenge of it. Selling out 1,000 person show and having 3 months to sell it out. It'd be no problem. What do they do? Oh, we don't think you would think you'd be better suited at this other theater it holds 300 people. And it costs $1,000. Okay then, fine. All right. When can I give you my money? How soon can I give it to you? How hard? All I need is a microphone. I don't need a set. Like, how hard is it? It's got to be so easy to let me just rent your theater, sell it out. It's good for everybody. But it's I don't know what kind of weird factors. There's this one guy who's in charge of some comedians and has his fingers in the pot and has been sort of controlling the comedians that come and go and be involved in booking them. And I'm not part of him and his little troupe. It's like a high school group. And maybe that's what's working against me. I don't know. It trips me out. Anyway, I'm always going to keep at it and keep trying. But yeah, today there's a show that I was going to go to last week, Amy Gilliam. And I'm maybe going to go try to see her show tonight. And because I think it's again tonight. I think she's playing tonight again. I'm not sure. Anyway, go there for any show, just so I could talk to the owner lady of the theater and say, can I give you half the money for a deposit? And listen, then you just call me when it's time, and you hopefully inspiring her to call me so I can just set a date. And with this tiny theater, she wants that I could rent. I mean, I could sell it out in a week or 2. Like, I don't need to wait 3 months to sell that place out. So I'm hoping, and then that place has only got like 2 shows a week also. 3 or 4 maybe a week on 3 nights. All these vacant nights. And I just don't get it. Like, maybe I scare people or rub them the wrong way, or they fear what I'm gonna say as a comedian. Maybe it's gonna be bad. I don't know. But I'm gonna keep at it. Persistence, Meanwhile, yeah, I got this new Trump joke. If I decide to do a set of Trump jokes, which is going to be part of a future set, and that's the 99.25% of all Republicans, it's been studies show, are assholes. But also for this first show, I really want to I think I'm going to start out with, or explain to people that I'm going to be mixing in a few dead comedians' jokes, a few Mitch Hedberg's jokes, maybe a few Rodney Dangerfield jokes, and one other I was recently thinking about. Anyway, maybe some Ralphie May, whatever. It's this weird taboo in the comedy world of people that are afraid to do other people's jokes. Not me. I'm just going to tell people I'm going to do other people's jokes, dead comedians' jokes. And because I have been most often compared to by others when I've done a little open mic, I've been compared to Mitch Hedberg, and that makes me really happy because I really like, he's my favorite comedian. That's the kind of obtuse silliness I'm looking for. And David Letterman and And who was that guy? Not Don Knotts, but the other guy. Anyway, yeah, and what was that guy? God, I wonder if I'm starting to get some mental acuity problems, because all of a sudden I'm having a little bit of a hard time remembering a couple people's names, but it could be just because I'm distracted by all this mayhem in the world. So could be the good weed. Anyway, all right. Love you guys. Sorry this took so long. It's been almost 2 weeks since my last confession, since my last exorcism of the news. Whew. Anyway, all right. Well, now I got that out of my system. It's all bad. Tomorrow's going to be worse. Today is even worse. Republicans continue to do harm and crime because that's all they know how to do. And then they turn it around and say, we're doing this to protect the American people. And no one feels protected. Everyone is afraid. Our country has fallen to shit. The Trump, it's like no one's anyone's ever seen before. Trump has destroyed our country. He's done everything to hurt us, right? Our borders were not really a problem. They weren't. Hard-working people were coming here, building our country up, keeping us from having declining population. If you don't understand basic economics, it's all a growth model. You need to keep growing. Labor force, one of those things. Anyway, and then of course the sick and scary thing is the way these sick, religiously mentally ill Republicans have gotten together with the mentally ill robot lovers that want to replace humans with robots here, there, and everywhere. Oh, and humans don't like robots, and humans are going to be committing crimes against robots because that's what we do, apparently. As soon as the first robocars were sent out, people started assaulting them. And just wait till the first robot is walking down the street. You don't think that robot's going to get assaulted? And then, of course, they're going to have to build in its ability to protect itself from people, to be able to do harm to people that want to do harm to a robot. That's coming. It's all so scary. We need to neuter the tech. Right, I got back to it in time. Saved it. All right, well, I got to finish up. But, yeah, we need to eliminate the Republican Party. We need to separate church from state. We don't need no Christian Taliban, no Ayatollah of Christianity running our country, right? Hurting people in the name of Jesus. Yeah, that's not Christian. The only real Christians in our country are Democrats or independents or people who don't want to do harm, don't want to see their religion used to kill people, right? Real Christians, if there is such a thing, are the thou shalt not kill, not rape, not kidnap, not lie, steal, take bribes, all that shit, right? Which is what the Republican Christians stand for now, evangelicals, right? Because they can do all the harm and crime in the world and then just pledge their allegiance to Jesus right before they die, and they're absolved of all their sins, right? Yeah, that's not a good ideology. It's not safe. It's not smart. No. The only kind of Christianity I would ever believe in would be one where you are punished if you rape children, if you murder people. That's it. You don't get second chances. And that's what made Christianity popular in the first place. The whole, I get a second chance at salvation, right? Anyway, wouldn't it be great if there was one religion that made any sense at all, that wasn't famous for all the people it killed over time, right? Jews now super famous for all the murder, and Christians are famous for all their murder, and Muslims have done their fair share as well, right? And of course, Mormons are just sitting on the sidelines going, yeah, we expect Armageddon, so we filled our basement full of supplies years ago. And of course, if you have 10 children per family, you bring Armageddon, right? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy in the Mormon church. You destroy the planet by having 10 kids, and then the end of the world comes. Yeah, duh, yeah, because too many people competing for too few resources. That's not smart. None of it. Anyway, yeah, we got to separate church and state, eliminate the Republican Party, bring back peace, love, sports, arts, humanities. You know, we could be celebrating this planet and life itself. Everyone's focus could be on everyone else's happiness, right? Like a good family member, right? I hope everyone else on earth is happy. That's what makes me happy, seeing everyone else happy. That's the most sensible way to think, but it's just not happening. Anyway, all right, I'm talking too much now. Love you guys. I got to get better at making videos. I got to start putting in some clips and all that. It's crazy that I haven't learned any of that yet. I am so broken still from the fire. It's hard for me to learn new things. My attention span isn't all that good most of the time. I mean, I seem to be good at just watching catastrophic, horrible news. I seem to be quite drawn to that. Playing a video game, watching a movie, I have attention span for that, but that's not much more than that. And now exercise, I'm exercising. But that is actually one of my challenges, exercising, is having the attention span to swim laps. You know, because you just got to keep doing it and not let, you know, you get distracted, you stop. I want to swim 100 laps. You know, I got to be focused and not be distracted. I got to keep doing it. And sometimes being distracted affects everything. But I think I'm getting better from the PTSD from the fire. These symptoms seem to be subsiding, and life gets better all the time. You know, for anyone that's still free and not being subjected to the torture from these thou shalt kill Republican white Christian nationalists, Nazis, skinheads. We have skinheads with hair. That's what the Republican Party is. Just a bunch of skinheads, most of the time, often with a full head of hair. Trump, not so much. He's got just like a little hair growing up here, and it's twisted all around, and it's just the weirdest shit I've ever seen on top of someone's head. Ugh. And he's got a catheter and a pee bag on his ankle. Thank you, Jamie Dollamore. He's wearing a diaper, and he shits his pants publicly all the time, and he's never had a driver's license, never had a real job, avoided the draft, never passed any tests in college. He was the bottom of his class in college, in high school, in elementary school. He's never been to a grocery store. He is the most incompetent, ineffective, fake human being that ever walked the planet. And I love you guys. I have 5 viewers. That's pretty exciting. Kihei Gardens? Good suggestion. That's outside. I'm not sure if an outside venue, great idea though. That is the one place I haven't gone to. I did go there and learn about the Kihei Gardens. And that is, see, the thing about this little pro arts theater is they have a videographer that apparently pay $200 to, and he'll do a professional job. And that has a lot of value, right? Because then I can make that a product, put it on my YouTube channel. I could try to sell it maybe. But it's a start. It'll be my first 1-hour gig. And then I'll start doing more of those and hopefully bank 10 1-hour shows. That's my goal. I think I have 10 hours of my very good bad jokes. And so anyway, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep looking for these things, my marbles. I keep finding them everywhere. Found another one, and you know, I don't know what else to say. There's so much to talk about in here, there, and elsewhere. It'll be really interesting to see how the settlement goes. Of course, these Republican assholes that I talked to here, who were from the state of Washington, I couldn't believe it, because I just can't believe anybody who sees all this and then is still okay with it. But you know what they were focused on, right? Because Republicans are always focused on weird shit that has nothing to do with them. But because they're greedy and jealous, probably, they're like, well, you're going to get some of that money, right? You're going to get some of that money. Or you're getting, I'm like, and they kept referring to something. And what they're, the $4 billion, now I was talking about the FEMA and how it's being dismantled and how evil Republicans are because they're destroying FEMA. And I was so thankful that my disaster happened during Joe Biden, because we would have all been screwed otherwise. And they just kept referring to the money, and I was like, what? And they were referring to the lawsuit, because in their mind, either they're jealous or they don't, whatever. Because there was liability in our fire. Thankfully, there were people liable, and easily provable. And it's another video. I need to take you to the spot where it all happened and make that video for you. I haven't really seen anybody do that. And so yeah, I don't know how much value my tragedy is worth, or how it will be litigated or assessed. But there are people who are going to try to give values to things, and there are 20,000 people with various claims. You know, people who just lost a job on the other side of the island, to the people who lost everything they own or their business burned out. There's just a lot of variance. But yeah, that's all they could focus on, was how they were under the impression I was going to get a bunch of money, and it was just weird, just like you would expect, because Republicans are freaking weirdos, which you'd have to be. You would have to be a depraved, soulless, fucking ungodly piece of fucking shit to be Republican at this time in history. It's just a mental fucking illness. Anyway, pardon me for so many swear words. At this time, it's hard not to swear when you're talking about the end of the world, maybe, the end of your country, the end of people's lives, the end of their rights, families suffering, broken apart, a guy terminally ill, gonna have to die in an ice prison. Oh man, I was gonna drink some, see that, that's a little bit of whiskey I poured last night to do this. Of course, whiskey, neat. Why? Because fuck ice. Ice has never been less popular. Everybody in America that's a real patriot is drinking their beverage with no ice, because fuck ice. Yeah, talk about an agency that our country would be way better if it didn't exist. Aloha. Yeah, let's have fun. That's what we should be doing, having fun, not fucking killing people at the hands of Republicans. All right, love you guys. Have a great day. Until I get detained by the Gestapo, maybe I'll keep doing this, or maybe I'll stop with the hopes that they will forget about me. But eventually I'm going to be on their list, right? They're going to be knocking on my door. They're going to be locking me up, beating me up, imprisoning me for having an opinion against Adolf Hitler Trump, right? Oh, how dare you speak against our supreme leader. And so I am so thankful for all the brave people that are speaking out, fighting back. Bringing receipts. All right. Love you guys. Have a great day. Do no harm. Do no crime. Thanks for watching. All good things in all good time. Go make it a good day.